And when you think about Brian Hathaway playing with the Stanley Cup champions, having that experience, you need to have a layer.
What's going on, everybody? John here with you. I'm going to be joined by Cooper Hopkins here momentarily. He's going to start the stream. I'm sure him and I are going to split the play-by-play and the color side in between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Calgary Flames. That's what they got tonight. It's a big Pacific matchup upcoming. Vegas still first in the Pacific. Calgary Flames still just 2 points out of a playoff spot. The Edmonton Oilers right now all over the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's 6-1, so they're going to continue to bolster their lead in WC1. So we'll see what happens in the number 2 spot. Minnesota Wild, they're the one that's holding it right now, and we will see how long that continues and see if they're in action tonight. So no, they're playing the Blue Jackets, so if they win, they're going to hold their spot regardless. So they're up 2-0, and the Flames and Golden Knights will be underway here in about 2 minutes. So I'm going to join Cooper Hopkins in progress, who will give you the full, complete analysis between both of us as far as the game story and the play-by-play. We'll be splitting those. So once he opens up this on Twitter Spaces, I will be joining him. Casual music on Twitter Spaces, I guess.
Well, is that the one and only John Ott that I see here in this Twitter space?
What's going on, my friend?
As always, buddy, it's good to hear your voice and good timing. I just fired up the space a moment ago, and the timing's also good on the feed on my side. This, unbeknownst to me, even though, John, we're going to be covering my favorite team, and I think we're in for an exciting contest here, which I want to get your thoughts about. This is Hockey Night on ESPN here in Vegas. The Flames are going to be visiting the Golden Knights. And this is, as we know it, in the land of hockey fans, John, this is a 4-point game we got on our hands.
Absolutely. It looks like the Fortress is rocking. I've been there before. It's a lot of fun. And we're going to see who's going to take this tonight because the Calgary Flames want to hold their 2 points.
Yeah, this is an exciting one on paper. I think it's going to be an exciting one on the ice as well. And we are officially underway, John. So just like that, we didn't even really have a chance to jump into a pregame show, but I know we'll have opportunities to chat as the night goes on. So right now on the ice for the Flames, Dillon Dube, Elias Lindholm, and Tyler Toffoli. On defense for the Flames, Noah Hanifin and Rasmus Andersson. The Flames are, of course, visiting here, so they're wearing their road whites with the red and yellow trim. The Vegas Golden Knights are in their alternate gold uniforms with the gray hockey pants. Golden Knights moving right to left, Flames moving left to right. John and I are going to be stepping back and forth between duties when it comes to play-by-play and color. But right now, we're 20 seconds into this game in Las Vegas. And, yeah, John, we have a big 4-pointer on our hands here. And the Pacific Division in particular is getting hot at the wrong time. If you're a Calgary fan, everyone seems to be winning, including the Edmonton Oilers, who are feeding the Pittsburgh Penguins their lunch tonight. So hopefully the Flames can have a similar performance as they have the first shot on goal right there that just goes wide of the blue paint a minute in. And now chasing the puck down is Dillon Dube, but a nice battle along the boards right there. We could have a tripping call coming up, and there's a first shot on goal that it's going to be fought off by Dan Vladar. And John, I'm extremely surprised right here. Jacob Markstrom was expected to start, but this is a back-to-back for Calgary. We got Vladar going in the net 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, and my projected lineups when I was looking at that, that's what I had for Markstrom, so I'll have to change that in my notes. So Darryl Sutter, again, we talk about who's going to be the 1A, 1B. It looks like Vladar is going to get his hand at it tonight.
Yes, he certainly is. And so at 18:48, that's right, Nazem Kadri is going to take the defensive zone draw. He loses it. So the Vegas Golden Knights now have an opportunity to bank one off the end boards, but it will be picked up by the centerman Nazem Kadri and cleared out of the Flames' end, though Jonathan Huberdeau cannot find the puck, and it is loose near the Flames' blue line. So here comes Jacob Peltier, though. He's been a strong player of late for Calgary, and it definitely has performed well. He had a multi-point game against the Coyotes the other night. And John, of course, it seems like every time I start a Twitter space, I have issues with the feed. So if you don't mind, could you pick up play-by-play for me right here and keep the listeners informed?
Yeah, no problem. So we got 18:05 left to go here in the first. We don't have a shot just yet, as the Flames will pick this up in the zone. It's Trevor Lewis. He's going to bank this off the left side of the cage as it's spun around the horn back to Mackenzie Weegar, able to hold that blue line, and it's wrapped around the boards again. Lewis tried to center a backhand out in front, and here come the Golden Knights. They're going to be attacking right to left. They are in the home gold jerseys with the black pants, as William Karlsson trying to find the puck in between three Flames, and this actually goes to the Golden Knights, and the shot knocks off Vladar's helmet, but he makes the save, and we're going to get a defensive zone draw coming here for Calgary.
Wow, yeah, Vladar has seen some spicy action, shall we say? Maybe that's just in my mind since I actually have something simmering on the stove right now. The Vegas Golden Knights have something simmering as well, as Vladar's mask is knocked off by the wrister from Amadio. And Tanev was in the way right there, a bit of an inadvertent screen. So good stop by big number 80 in net for the Flames.
Getting a look at Bruce Cassidy on the feed, 34, 18, and 5 in his first season with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's been one hell of a coach, and it's been a good gift for them since he came over from the Boston Bruins.
Absolutely. On the other side, we see Darryl Sutter. He's been mixing up his forward lines lately. A new forward for fans to keep an eye on is Walker Duehr. Walker Duehr came up from the AHL Calgary Wranglers, and every time I say the Wranglers, I always mention formerly the Stockton Heat. They're now in Cowtown with the Calgary Flames, the big club. So keep an eye on Walker Duehr. He had a nice goal and assist at Mullet Arena last night.
You still want me to take this, or are you good?
Yeah, John, no, if you don't mind, I have the feed, but it's popping in and out for me, so
okay.
I'm able to hold the color just for a moment. So if you could take the play-by-play, that'd be fantastic.
So Eichel spins this all the way around, and Vladar has to do a half backflip to go ahead and make a save. As now this goes to the Flames. They can try to go left to right as this is bouncing across the blue line. Now Mikael Backlund, he has it off his forehand, and it'll drop back to the diesel. Vladar's already been busy. He's already done a half flip, and he's already had the mask taken off as this is entered in across the red line and then powered in. So it's going to be Laurent Brossoit in goal for the Vegas Golden Knights as this one almost goes behind him through the 5-hole, but he plugs it up. 16:54. We're going to get an offensive zone draw here for the Flames upcoming.
Wow, so Brossoit really with his first action of the night, Blake Coleman with a grimace on his face. He looks up to the big scoreboard looking for a replay. I think he believes he had a chance right there. And as I see this replay, John, I think he did as well. But boy, we have to mention that Tam Vladar has made some unorthodox saves tonight, but it's still 0-0, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, the way that I think of the back-to-back, because I watched a little bit of that game last night when Calgary just heavily outshot the Arizona Coyotes, so maybe Sutter can think that he didn't get much of a workout last night because it was, as I look in front of it, 51-14 on the shot board just last night. So Elias Lindholm, this is a nice easy win here for Gilbert, and he puts it toward the right pad of Brossoit as it's brushed aside. And Lindholm will come together and get the hit as this is picked here by Alex Pietrangelo. He was looking for an outstretched pass, but it's going to be iced, and Vegas cannot change.
Yeah, John, you make a really good point about the shot totals. I mean, listen, you and I have covered a ton of Flames this season, and that is typical of this Darryl Sutter squad. They always have shot volume, but interestingly, on the other side, just like you noted, 14 shots for Arizona, but they were relatively successful when they had their shots. So Flames, unfortunately, giving up high danger chances, even though they're not giving up a lot of shots.
Lindholm trying to get this draw here. Toffoli will send it across here for Gilbert. This takes a bounce off the left side of the inboards, and Vegas will try to attempt to gain the neutral zone as this goes back to Dennis Gilbert, getting across the red line. Across the Golden Knight logo, they have one of the best logos, I would imagine, but the jerseys have definitely changed over the 5 seasons for the Vegas Golden Knights as this goes back into the Flames defensive zone. Spin around here is Zadorov. He's going to let the forwards take a change. At 16:10 to go in the first. John, I'm working on the play-by-play drawn by Cooper Hopkins. I'm sure going to be switching off as this is put in through the blue paint, and this is brushed aside by Brossoit. And Michael Amadio gets bumped off the puck. Essentially, that's going to be offside, so this will be a chance for Nazem Kadri to go ahead and try to gain through the neutral zone. He does so off the backhand, trying to leave it here for Jonathan Huberdeau, but he was a smidge offsides.
Yeah, John, as I'm taking a look at what we've seen so far, nothing in particular stands out for me. Sometimes in these games that are really high stakes, you see a player step up immediately, and obviously the Flames will need that as this game gets back underway and the faceoff is taken by the Flames. They now hold it in the O-zone with a shot from the high slot. I'll let you jump back into the play-by-play, but definitely looking to see who stands out here in this first period for Calgary.
So Flames try to put this in between the circles, and this gets blocked by the Golden Knights as Nazem Kadri was sitting on the doorstep. It's going to be a race for the puck as Chris Tanev, he gets brushed toward the right side of the red line. Mackenzie Weegar also in there as well with Jonathan Huberdeau. They're just trying to pry this puck loose that's stuck in between the boards as Dan Vladar holds onto the right post. This is picked up now by Weegar off the backhand. And the Golden Knights, they like to just play this back rather than press the puck. And this is going to allow the Flames to be able to get in the offensive zone. As another shot gets blocked to the side by Brossois. And the Flames will send this back D to D. Hanifin taking his time to the right side wall. He tries to put a backhand out there for Milan Lucic. Lucic will go D to D with Rasmus. Rasmus will spin this back around the boards as Lucic will watch this go in between his legs. And Marchessault will get a piece of it now. Off the backhand, he tried to find one of the forwards. I believe that was Amadio, and that went a little too far. I think Chandler Stephenson might also be on the third line side for Bruce Cassidy's squad, so it'll be something for me to keep my eyes on to see if they shuffle some lines. As the Vegas Golden Knights, they have a one-on-one, but a good back check by the Flames defense. They're able to brush that aside as Toffoli will flip it across, and this will go back to Alec Martinez. So it's Alec Martinez from the LA Kings and Alex Pietrangelo from the St. Louis Blues on the first line defense here for the Golden Knights. Former players there is Karlsson. Gets this lifted, and the Flames will get this all the way across. Several high clears that have been very flippant into the zone as Tyler Toffoli and Lindholm. Offsides again, 14:08.
Yeah, John, so I do have, I think now, hopefully a steady feed here. I'd love if you could just continue with the play-by-play. You're doing a great job. But, yeah, the Flames are doing a good job right here as the faceoff is won by Calgary. And they hold near center ice. Flames are doing a good job of, again, limiting chances. Vegas hasn't had a ton of looks at Dan Vladar, even though he's had to make a couple of interesting saves.
So we talk about the bevy of injuries now, but it's in the back end of the goaltending part of it where they're missing the first three goaltenders as Vegas, but they've still won 5 out of the last 6 games. They did lose a shootout the other day against the Chicago Blackhawks, however, as Lindholm tries to fire it on, but this goes right to Vegas. Maybe an opportunity for them to get something going, but the first pass initially got blocked, and Pietrangelo will send it around for Vladar, as this is picked up now near the right side of the face-off dot. Dennis Gilbert. He's going to take this back in his own end, but he's got to be quick about it. A couple of stick lifts as Vegas is not leaving him alone, and now Zadorov has to come help as this puck is just being pinned. William Carrier, Jack Eichel there as well. Again, it's just interesting to see Jack Eichel in a Vegas Golden Knights uniform. Haven't got a chance to cover the Knights too many times, so he wants to see if he'll break out tonight as well. As this will go back for the Golden Knights, and they'll play from a Brossois pass. Get across the red line, and this will go back to Chris Tanev. Last night against Arizona, Elias Lindholm had his 500th career point in the NHL in a big win. See what they can do now against Golden Knights on this back-to-back at T-Mobile Arena. As Tanev gets us to the right side wall, Howden gets worked off the puck, and Coleman will just try to send this to an open left side dot. This will be dropped nicely here, and a short side shot there by Calgary that will be saw by Brossois on the catching glove.
Yeah, nice simple save right there, but the shot comes from somebody who's notable for me as we get our first commercial timeout here, John. We definitely need to chat about Mikael Backlund. He and his line have looked really, really good. He's been playing with Andrew Mangiapane and regularly has been with Blake Coleman as well. And Backlund is having a career year here, and something that we may be able to touch on when we have a longer period of time, so potentially during one of the intermissions. We can look. When we last covered the Flames together, we sort of looked at a bit of a gauntlet that they are now starting in terms of teams that they are going to face that should be favored to beat Calgary. The reason why I think about those teams, and Mikael Backlund in particular, is he's a name that if the Flames don't have really any success in this stretch of the schedule, and they start to slip out of the playoff picture, which they're very close to right now. They're just outside the second wild card. Names like Mikael Backlund, Nikita Zadorov, even Chris Tanev have been tossed around online and by some of the pundits about players the Flames may move if they decide to sell at or before the trade deadline. So I know we'll get into that. We had some trades today, including a former Flame moving from the Capitals to the Bruins. So plenty to talk about on the NHL slate.
Yeah, we will talk about some of those trades, but what I will say right now is in the middle of the commercial break too, that the way Backlund's played in the last game he covered, he's got 7 more points since then. So after, Nazem Kadri, Tyler Toffoli, Backlund's got like the third most points on the team the way that he's been playing. And that fourth line, that third and fourth line, especially last night, look, Arizona or not, they like to play teams very difficult and try to draw things out. That third and fourth line did a lot of damage last night. That had to make you feel good.
Yeah, they really did. And, for a lot of that game, it looked like what we've seen far too often from Calgary this year. They get an early goal. Looks like some momentum is on their side. We've seen, frankly, John, we know enough to say they look good through the first, 10, 12, 15, even 18 minutes of a first period.
Yeah.
And then somehow struggle in the second. And that's what took place at Mullet Arena. It was a 3-1 lead for Arizona, but that third goal was the last they would score. Flames ended up coming back and winning big 6-3 as we're just about to get a face-off in the offensive zone in front of Calgary that will be taken by Mikael Backlund.
So Backlund going to set to try to win this draw. I'm going to have to do this again, though, as this will bounce out Frazee, and this will bring in Holden against Backlund. And we will try it one more time. Backlund does win it clean, as this will go back to the game and get the overhead camera again on ESPN that I'm not particularly fond of, as this gets sent all the way back down the ice. And Coleman had to bounce this away from the zebra that had to duck, and now Calgary able to gain the entry. Here's Backlund as he's patient, and it goes off the left pad of Brossoit. Almost had an opportunity for a rebound put back, as now Vegas will gain the entry. No shots here for Vegas in about the last 5 minutes. It's 5-2 in favor of Calgary. And again, I think those shot totals for me will carry a little more weight against a team like Vegas more so than Arizona. Just want to be honest there. If they continue to pepper Brossoit, we know what his numbers are. He's about 105 games played in the NHL, about a 290 goalie as far as goals against, but he's very, very good. He's very capable. As this is picked up now for Rasmus Andersson, they're going to be going to the power play of the Flames. Once this puck is touched by the Golden Knights and toward the left side dot, it gets fired wide across the boards, and Rasmus Andersson will skate all the way back, and we'll see if there'll be a race for it. But the Flames essentially have a 6-on-5 until the puck is touched and see what they can do with it as Nazem Kadri gets into the neutral zone. Kadri with a pass here for Huberdeau as he elects to throw it right back around the horn here for Rasmus Andersson as he's near the right dot. Jacob Peltier still patient. Again, Calgary is going to be going to a power play, but Vegas has not touched the puck yet. As Andersson will play crisscross D to D. And a shot right here for Peltier as he continues to hold, and now that's Huberdeau. And the cross feed, wow, that was so close on the left side dot there for the Flames. They could have had something in the slot, but they're going to go to the power play now at 11:10.
Yeah, they are going to go to a hooking call, and it's actually been so long, John, that I'm actually not entirely sure who the call's against, although we're getting the replay right here. Drawing the penalty is Blake Coleman, so good job by Coleman, the former Lightning man. And that's, boy, I can't see. Do you have a number there, John? I apologize.
I did not. I'm spinning. It's Frazee going to the box. Brian Frazee.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, 2 minutes. First power play goes to Calgary. And you have to look at what they just did. Basically had a few extra minutes, about a half a minute of power play time on that 6-on-5. Unfortunately, no shot on goal, but nice job to run Vegas a bit ragged right there as now the man advantage is underway for the visitors.
So Nazem Kadri could win the draw as this goes back to Dan Vladar. He's getting his start off the back-to-back as he leaves it now for Rasmus Andersson. So this is ESPN Hockey Night. John on here with you alongside Cooper Hopkins between the play-by-play and color respectively. We're going to be switching across. Tyler Toffoli has a good look toward the right circle as Huberdeau will get this across for Toffoli and they'll settle it back down. Toffoli, patient, extra pass a little bit too hard there for Nazem Kadri, but they'll play crisscross again near the right dot, send him along the end boards. As this will go back for Jonathan Huberdeau. Now Elias Lindholm sends it back to Rasmus Andersson. Here's Huberdeau. He's going to let a wrist shot go, and that goes off the right pad as Lawrence Brossoit has been a little busy here in this first period. We're getting close to the halfway marker of the first. Good give-and-go pass there between Huberdeau and Lindholm. Couldn't finish, but Rasmus Andersson holds that blue line as the Flames continue to have puck possession. Huberdeau, patient off his forehand, looking for a seam pass. Doesn't find anybody but Tyler Toffoli. We'll center this one back out, and Rasmus Andersson, he wasn't there, and this will go back to Jonathan Huberdeau. He's going to go ahead and take a change, but Huberdeau's got it. He'll play to the right side. Backlund sticks it up to himself out of the air. That was a nifty move as he keeps it alive to Noah Hanifin. Here's Backlund on the left side faceoff dot. Now back to Hanifin. Hanifin sends this one for Dillon Dube near the right side dot. Now Hanifin in the high slot. Backlund, extra touch pass, and that was a great setup off the one-timer, but it got knocked away by Brossoit. And the Vegas Golden Knights just trying to get this out of their own end, but they can't. Calgary's had the puck possession the entire time. There's another shot. Peltier was in front, but it was saved by Brossoit. Mangiapane now for Dube. Off the one-timer. Brossoit says no.
Wow, John. The only word that came to mind right there, and I just said it, is wow. I don't blame the Golden Knights fans for getting up out of their seat to applaud their goaltender, Brossoit. He's looked good tonight and made some fantastic blocker saves in particular. I think one of those may have been off the stick shaft. But my goodness, the Flames have looked really good on this power play. Both units, 1 and 2, very dangerous.
This is exactly what you want to see, but I know Cooper and I will be thinking this in the back of our minds. How long is this going to be kept up, especially off the back-to-back? But if Calgary can play with the type of sense of urgency in the gauntlet schedule of coming that they're facing right now, this will bode very well. This could definitely tell you whether or not the Flames would make the postseason if you get a lot of points against these teams that are upcoming. So Tanev, off the face-off win, we'll get this back in the high slot. Tanev fakes the slapper, sits it up off the one-timer. Lewis has an open net to shoot at, but he just couldn't get there in time, and now this will go back. So the Flames power play was pretty good. It was 10 shots to 2. Lewis gained the entry. Now he's going to shoot a short side shot as that was blocked off by Brossoit. Now it's in the high slot. Here's a pass in an open area near the right side of the red line. The Flames have just been all over this puck as Tanev will flip it, but it didn't find anyone near the right side of the dot. This will go back to Brossoit. We'll see if he'll hold it or play it. He quickly plays it. So 8:40 left to go in the first. It's 10 shots to 2 in favor of the Flames, and now a chance for Lewis as he got the puck knocked away from him in front of the net. 5 shots on the power play opportunity there for the Flames, and I think a lot of them have been pretty good. As now it's an icing, I believe, here.
Yeah, John, I think you're right. And, listen, I'm of two minds right now. And this is because I just paid such close attention to this team this year, Calgary in particular. I want to be positive and say, wow, they've done a great job in this first period of really dictating the play. But also, they don't have anything to show for it yet. There's only 8.5 to go in the first. So we'll see what happens as we're back underneath the action.
So another face-off win, and Dennis Gilbert's shot gets solved by Brossoit and then sent around the inboards again. This stays with the Flames. Another shot opportunity, and this will go back in the high slot here for the D. So Brossoit has been very, very busy right now, and he can have to go ahead and have a chat with his team at the end of the first intermission, I would imagine, get the play going the other way as the Flames now look to break out left to right. They've been doing that a lot. As this on his complete jets that he's got is Toffoli is Nazem Kadri. We'll try to get this back around, and now Kadri will hold off with the backhand, and he got worked off the puck as there was a couple of sticks in front of him. I think we're going to get a call upcoming here against the Knights.
Yeah, John, we are. It's going to be a holding call, so a 2-minute minor, and that puts the Flames on the power play once again. They are 0 for 1, but looked excellent on their first opportunity. And I will tip my cap to the ESPN statisticians. So far, with just under 8 to go in the first, the Flames have almost 4.5 minutes of offensive zone time to just about 1 minute and 15 seconds compared with the Vegas Golden Knights. So the Flames, as we have seen, just with the eye test, the Flames really have dominated play here.
So Grayson, I know he usually follows us on the YouTube side. He says, hey, guys, what's going on? What team should I bet on to win this game? Well, if the Flames can continue to play the way that they're playing, I will say Calgary, but you might want to hold off on that one right now.
I know. I want to ask Grayson or answer a question with a question. I want to say, Grayson, how much of a risk taker are you? I think the safe bet is probably the Golden Knights. They come into this game the leading team in the Western Conference with 73 points. They have a couple of teams right on their tail, and John and I are going to cover all of that and, of course, the scoreboard tonight and how that affects positioning. But in terms of betting, I will say, yeah, the Knights probably the safe bet, but the Flames making a really nice move right here, and hopefully they can maintain this run of play throughout the game. If they do, you got to think they come away with the W.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when we talked about the upcoming games, it's going to be Saturday against the Colorado Avalanche. So we'll have to keep in mind between Cooper and myself to see what games that we can cover. I'm sure if we don't get the one this weekend, we'll probably get to the stuff against Dallas, a couple ones against Minnesota. It's nothing but playoff teams or borderline playoff teams for Calgary. And you want to see them play at their best right now as I get another look of the shot at the Fortress. And again, it's definitely a theater and a show that only Vegas can get away with. So as I said earlier in this broadcast, if you get a chance to go during March Madness, go. Watch a game, have fun. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's the glitz and the glam of Tinseltown, and it's just a fantastic show. I'm jealous, John. You've been there. I have yet to make it. Been to Vegas a number of times, but have not seen the Golden Knights play at home. And just from the snippets that you see from the feed, it looks like a show unlike any other in the NHL. So again, 7:47 to go. We're back from commercial break here. This is Cooper Hopkins on the color right now. John Ott on the play-by-play. The Flames had 3 power play goals last night against the Coyotes. Of course, a very different beast right here in the Golden Knights on their second man advantage.
So as Kadri was held by Shea Theodore, that's going to put the Flames back on the power play. And they have 1:30 left to go, which to do so on their second power play. Their first one looked really good. They had a lot of shots. So we'll see what they can do now. It's Rasmus Andersson trying to go left to right as Nazem Kadri will gain the entry there for Jonathan Huberdeau, but it's a little bit too far as Alex Pietrangelo tries to pick it up. Elias Lindholm might get in there as well, but the Golden Knights flip this one, and Golden Knights are 7-0 all time against the Flames at home, outscoring them 30-8. I seem to remember that from some of our earlier color cast days, as there's been a lot of goals, but I can't imagine seeing a 6-5 game or something like that today. As this gets flipped across, Mangiapane will put this back in there for Hanifin. Dube with the half spin, sit up for Hanifin, off the slap pass, Backlund trying to center it out in front of the Flames. They say they score. I wonder if there's going to be goaltender interference, but this might be a goal for Dube, Backlund. Everybody was in there.
Yeah, John, this is a tough one for me to give a clean analysis on.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a mess of bodies there in the crease. I do think the Flames score here. But yeah, we're going to have to see a couple of replays to determine if there was interference prior to that puck crossing the line.
So I am seeing Peltier. He is just stuck against Laurent Brossoit. It's Mangiapane trying to flip this out of the air. Any one of these Flames can get a goal, and I'm not seeing any type of signification yet, but it looks like Jacob Peltier has his third of the season right now for the Flames. They're up 1-0.
Yeah, these young players for the Flames, Peltier, of course, and Walker Duehr, who we mentioned is someone to keep an eye on in this contest, really contributing in major ways. And this is what the Flames do. They take an early lead. Now, can they hold it? Can they maintain this level of play and expand upon it?
I'm not going to sit and say that was the right or wrong call. I just saw that there was a lot of contact, but that might have been Nicholas Haig that actually bounced into Peltier. And good on the cameras and everyone else to determine that it was actually Peltier, because I know I have 4 eyes, but that was really difficult to call to see who scored. But what we do see is it's 17-2 on the shot board here for the Flames.
Yeah, that is exceptional. This is right on track with what they did last night against Arizona and what they've done really throughout the season. And yeah, John, not to put you on the spot here, but you do have 4 eyes. I figure you should have a good call. I mean, I think the Situation Room, they need to get in touch with you to figure out what's going on.
So as this is picked up here at 6:05 left to go in the first, and this is a great start here for Calgary. We'll see if they can maintain at least maybe 70% of this going forward, because again, I see the shot board and it looks nice on one way, but this is against Vegas, and they've certainly been rolling. Now in the defensive end, Flames will try to get this out, and they do. At 5:45 in the first, they will dump this one in. They just scored it. It's Jacob Peltier's 3rd goal of the season, as it's all Flames right now. They hadn't scored on either one of their power plays, but still, they looked really good across. And now it's a 1-on-1. Here's a chance for Holden, and that brush just aside the blue paint as Eichel was trying to be in front of it, and this will be a stoppage as the puck is in the glove of Dan Vladar.
Yeah, that's how fast it can happen right there, John. An excellent description of that play. I mean, of course, the Flames, yeah, this is what we've talked about, but we've also seen this story many times over. We've seen the Flames dominate the first period. We've seen them get that first goal. Not necessarily an early goal in this case, but the first one, that matters. Put yourself up 1. But a bit of a dangerous chance right there for the Golden Knights. And we know what they can do. They can come back and turn this thing on its head real quick.
I just want to say this, and I'm not trying to be disparaging or be a smart aleck or anything like that. So Dan Vladar, he's only had to make 3 saves, and Laurent Brossoit is 16 out of 17 already for 5:30 in the first. So that is a surprise. But again, as we go across this first period in the intermission, when we get to it, there is plenty of scores that we have to talk about it that matter to both of us across who's going to hold spots, who's going to take spots, and who's ascending, because it's getting really spicy right now, Cooper Hopkins, in the NHL season.
Yeah, it really is, and it's in both conferences. But of course, my focus typically leans west, and John, your Red Wings fandom, I think yours would typically lean east. But you also keep an eye on all of the action in the NHL, and man, there has been a lot of it, a lot of movement, a lot of goals scored tonight. The LA Kings making a move as well. The Seattle Kraken have a big game coming up as well if they want to keep the position that they're in. So yeah, plenty of Western Conference and specifically Pacific Division action to talk about.
So I just wanted to refresh my own memory, because I know the Kraken, they're playing a game, and that's against the Boston Bruins tonight. So, I mean, we have several sledgehammer games on the docket tonight.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. I might have to steal that sledgehammer game. Yeah, somebody's getting knocked out, and it's going to be with a sledgehammer, because at this time of the year, if you're taking that loss, it can feel like getting slammed in the chest with a sledgehammer, because slipping in the standings is the last thing you want to do. You have the specter of the trade deadline still looming, and that could mean different things for different teams that are on the bubble.
So it's going to be an offensive zone draw upcoming here for Vegas. They have just 3 shots in this first period, but the faceoff's actually 1, and this goes back to Alec Martinez as he tries to drive the left side of the wall. Able to get around a couple of stick blades as Chandler Stephenson will spin this around the inboards. And now Noah Hanifin will collect. His pass actually gets back to the neutral zone, so this will be an opportunity for Calgary to go ahead and get some puck possession, as Vegas will have to flip this one all the way across again. And Chandler Stephenson, an excellent two-way forward. And that was an opportunity. Dan Vladar, I actually don't know if it hit him or not, but it was near the left side of the circle. And now the Flames keep this alive off the forehand with some excellent skating. Lindholm able to wrist one, and that just missed the right side of the crease, as this is picked up now by Mackenzie Weegar, looking for the tip out in front for Lindholm. And now this will be picked up here by Vegas with 4:40 left to go, but there's all sorts of body contact near the players' bench. You see Jonathan Huberdeau as this goes back now for Alec Martinez, and now Alex Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo will get his pass over there to forwards. This is a great setup and move. Picked up now for William Karlsson toward the right side wall, trying to chip this off the backhand, and the Flames got to be astute to get this one out, as Huberdeau does. And across the red line now are the Vegas Golden Knights, as it's McNabb. McNabb's pass, try to get across the blue line now, but Nazem Kadri able to cut it off. Flames just seem to be everywhere right now on the ice, and that is good to see. But the Golden Knights can strike at any time, even though they are missing their captain, Mark Stone, with the week-to-week on the back issues. And hopefully we can see him back on the ice sooner rather than later. As the puck falls to Vladar, it was still loose, but the whistle had blown. I don't think the Golden Knights fans are going to like that.
Boy, what a hit right there. Dennis Gilbert on Smith of the Vegas Golden Knights. That's a big smack into the glass right there, and the puck sort of squirted back toward Vladar with a little bit of speed. Frankly, enough speed to get to him. It was rolling on edge, flicked forward by one of the diving Knights, and Vladar covers up to stop the play. Looks like the Knights kind of slid it out from underneath his glove, but the whistle had gone. So a face-off right there, and again, big hit by Gilbert. He's out there tonight in part because, frankly, John, it's worth noting, both of the Stone brothers are out, not only Mark, but Michael Stone is out on the blue line for the Flames with injury.
Yeah, so you definitely have that big-time slap shot that is missing. So we'll see if we can get some more time here for Gilbert and see how he does in these big-time games against playoff teams. So makes a lot of sense. You give it some opportunity for growth. As Eichel's pass will go all the way from Nikita Zadorov. With 3:30 left to go in the first. John over here with him, the play-by-play drawn by Cooper Hopkins, but I'm sure we're going to be switching off here in the second period. Just glad to be able to bring this game to you. It's hockey night on ESPN, 17 shots to 5 in favor of Calgary, and they have the first goal of the game courtesy of Jacob Pelchier, as Marchessault will get this one here for Eichel. Eichel with the cross pass in the middle of the circles off the backhand, and that one got fired wide and up and out of play. My goodness.
Well, John, this is what we see late in the first period from the Flames far too often, is their positioning, their defensive responsibilities start to fall by the wayside. I don't want to say that the tables have completely turned here, but Marchessault and we're also going to have another penalty, John, against Vegas. Am I seeing this correctly?
A high sticking call, and I don't think the fans are going to be too happy about it. So I'm looking at the replay in the middle of the circles, And I think one of the Flames just got clipped on the way for the setup for Vladar. They went high.
That's correct. Yeah, down low to the right of Vladar. Marchessault gets the blade of his stick caught up in the visor of Noah Hanifin. So even if that shot had gone in for the Knights, which was a grade A chance that frankly should have been on net and wasn't, it was sailed high and wide, it wouldn't have counted because the penalty had gone there with the high sticking. So it's power play number 3 for Calgary.
Is this a must score here, Cooper?
You know what? I need to see either extended zone time, so dominant zone time, like the first power play for the Flames, or a goal, right? It's going to be two sides of the same coin. The Flames have less than 3 minutes here in the first period. They have been bitten late in period number 1 in too many games. They have to get to the room with a lead.
So Tyler Toffoli trying to send this around here for Nazem Kadri near the right side, and Jonathan Huberdeau able to use that big body, and he blocks the puck from getting out. Flames got possession again. Toffoli, but the pass was too far from Anderson as Toffoli gets this back to Kadri. They'll crisscross near the right side dot. Toffoli, patient, lives it for Kadri. They'll pass back one more time. Toffoli can't get into the spot that he usually wants near the dot. Let the wrister go. He's in too tight. This will fall back to Rasmus Andersson, and now it's Huberdeau. Huberdeau patiently for Toffoli in the middle of the circles. Rasmus Andersson with the slap shot, and that was saved and up and out of play.
Wow, John, I think that may have gone off of Brossois' mask. If we get another replay here, yeah, Brossois is taking off the helmet right now, kind of resetting. Let's take another look at this. Good passing from the Flames here as we get on the ESPN feed on my side, the replay. Yep, that was a bullet of a slap shot right off of the forehead of Brossois. So we got one for Brossois. We have one on the other side that went off the helmet of Dan Vladar. That one took off his noggin almost, but now we're even for these netminders.
So Alec Martinez having a little trouble in behind the net, and this will fall into the players' bench. So we'll get a neutral zone drop coming with 2:04. It's 18 shots to 6 in favor of Calgary, and they're on their third power play of the first period.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that obviously, I mean, look, any hockey analyst with any kind of stripes has got to say what I'm about to say. And you know what? You need to capitalize. When you have this many man advantages in the first period, you would want to think that, you're going to score on at least one of them. So the Flames have 45 seconds to do so right here.
So Dillon Dube is one-timer that goes wide of the right side boards, and Vegas able to flip this out. I'm not going to say mercifully Vegas wants the first period to end because they're still within striking distance, but they're going to need to find another gear when they get into the second stanza. As Dube nicely across the right side inboards, trying to leave this here for the longest tenured Flame and Mikael Backlund. And now Mangiapane. Spin this around here for Backlund. Back to the blue line side is Noah Hanifin. Has enough for Dillon Dube. It's Backlund in the left circle. Now for Hanifin. Hanifin patient in the high slot. Backlund trying to shoot one low. Is this pinballed around the end boards? And Dillon Dube trying to keep this alive off the backhand. And now Vegas will have it. And you got to watch out just in case there's an outstretched pass. But this goes back to Calgary. And Backlund looking for the tip out in front. This stays for Mangiapane off the glove. Straight back up for Mangiapane, and this goes now to the left side boards as he missed it all. As Backlund throws the body, and this is picked up now by Vegas across the red line, and they're just going to try to gain the entry. Dan Vladar holding on to the left post, and somebody was unmarked immediately as Jack Eichel got an opportunity, and that was saved by the left pad of Vladar. That was a big one at the end of the first period. Here comes Calgary in the offensive end, as stick lifted was Milan Lucic, and now Vegas looking to try to go the other way as Jonathan Marchessault is back out on the ice as Michael Amadio had this puck knocked away from him. And now Calgary will get this as Connor Dewar just being sandwiched toward the right side boards. And now Lucic will come together as this is 20 seconds left to go in the first. This will go back to Rasmus Andersson near the right side of the blue line, spun around in Brossois' office. Off the back end is Lucic just trying to get through Jack Eichel and a couple other players. They finally dispossess him of the puck. And now 10 seconds left to go in the first. As this is flipped on from about 100 feet and held by Dan Vladar.
Yeah, John, so just a few seconds left to go here in the first period, and a couple things I want to make note of before we hit the intermission. First of all, Dillon Dube looked really good on his shift and was out for basically the entire second half of the power play. Looked really good, kept the puck in the offensive zone, went to the greasy areas, and fought for possession. The other thing I want to mention, not positive, the Flames have completely lost the trailing forward of Vegas 3 times now and have let them get wide open shot opportunities. And that last one was the most dangerous of the bunch. And if it weren't for Dan Bladar's left pad, it'd be a tie game.
So Chandler, Stephenson can't win the draw, and that's going to end the first period. And again, yes, they left Jack Eichel wide open in the previous possession. So the Calgary Flames, nonetheless, they take a 1-0 lead in the dressing room at T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, John, in no uncertain terms, I got to say that's huge. We've seen the Flames fail to maintain their momentum and take it into the dressing room, and you know what? They did this time, and they're doing it against one of the best teams in the Western Conference and really all of the NHL. And they're doing it on a back-to-back. So these are all things that are worthy of noting, and it's an impressive performance after 20 minutes here for the visiting Calgary Flames.
Yeah, again, we'll have to see if they'll keep that up because it's 18 shots to 8. It's 13 hits to 11, and the faceoffs are about dead even, 10-9 for the Vegas Golden Knights on that side. But it was the 3 power plays there for the Calgary Flames. They did convert on one of them. So that's worth noting there. And we're going to have to take a look. Cooper Hopkins alongside the scoreboard, the trades. There's a lot to unpack here in this first period, depending on where you want to start.
Oh, I realized I was on mute there. What am I, on a Zoom call right now? I'm trying to cover some hockey. But I think, my friend, even though it's sort of a basic place to start, I think it's going to inform our discussion a little bit. Why don't we take a look at the NHL scoreboard? Do you want me to jump in, or should I cover some of these games tonight?
Go ahead if you want to jump in, because I think there's one that I want to mention for myself, which is obvious. It has 30 seconds left, but go ahead and jump in.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm excited for you to talk about that. I want to hear your thoughts as well. Why don't you start there, and then we'll get to some of the others that are already final.
All right, so right now, with about 30 seconds left, so I must be waiting to have this countdown on the ESPN ticker. The Red Wings are going to take a big 2 points against the New York Rangers. And it was opening the scoring. Former Ranger Andrew Kopp from Rasmussen and David Perron. It was a 1-0 lead for Detroit at the end of one. Vinny Trocheck tied it up at 6:06 unassisted. But it was Zadina and Rasmussen that gave the Red Wings a 3-1 lead going into the third. Philip Hronik's going to cap off the winner, it seems like, is Ville Husso. I keep talking about him, but I feel like I have to. 30 out of 31 again tonight against the New York Rangers, as Yaroslav Halak takes the loss, 19 out of 23 that has just gone final. The Red Wings get a 4-1 win, and they are in a wild card spot tonight with 3 games in hand. What a 2.5 weeks it's been for Detroit.
You know what? My only question for you right now, forget the analysis, forget the color commentary. My question for you, how do you feel, my friend? Because,
I am pumped.
Yeah, you should be. I'm glad. I can hear it in your voice. I'm excited for you. I'm excited because I feel like I'm on the bandwagon. Detroit looked so good in both of their games against the Flames this year. And you know what? They've carried that level of play against one of the top teams in the East. Yeah. And they get that W. They get 2 huge points. Now they sit in a playoff spot. It's starting to look like, especially with the hot goaltending from Husso, that the sky is the limit for these Red Wings. Do you agree?
I think it is right now. I mean, I understand the other day it was a win against the Caps, and it was no Ovechkin. But look, we talked about it plenty of times when we mentioned this with the Flames or other teams that we cover and say, look, you have to beat the teams that are in front of you in the standings. It doesn't matter what the situation is. If they're in front of you, go ahead and take those 2 points. Red Wings just did that against Washington. They did it against the Rangers tonight. And I think now on Saturday, I think I have my assignment punched in. I'm going to have to cover the Lightning and the Red Wings on Saturday because, I mean, that's going to be a big game. And if the Red Wings continue to play well against the Rangers, who's to say they can't do it against Tampa? They've beaten them this year, too.
Yes, they have. And you know what? That'll give me a quick segue to the scoreboard. Let's talk about those Tampa Bay Lightning. They were in a slugfest tonight, and they actually go down in overtime, losing to the Buffalo Sabres, who are doing just enough to keep making a bit of noise and keep themselves in the conversation. So the Lightning are, they are the caliber of team that can absolutely dominate you on any given night. But you know what? Just like the Red Wings did earlier in the season, Buffalo Sabres will come away with a win against TB. And I think the Red Wings are poised to do the very same thing this weekend. I'm just curious, John. Do you think that the upcoming schedule is one that, because we've talked about the Flames and their upcoming schedule. And I don't want to put you on the spot. We don't have to drag out every game coming up for the next 2 weeks. But do you think that schedule lends itself to some success Wings if they can keep their level of play.
So here's the deal, and I'll pull this up right now. I know the next game is against Tampa, and we'll do that. After that game, there's going to be a couple ones that Detroit should win because they're going to be playing the Blackhawks. They're going to have a back-to-back with Ottawa. So it's Tampa back-to-back with Ottawa, Seattle, Islanders, Chicago. So, yeah, they're going to have a couple. Ottawa, I will say this, as much as they've tried to make some sells and things like that, they can score a lot of goals. So after this game against Tampa on Saturday, it's a back-to-back at the Canadian Tire Center with Ottawa. I feel like that's going to work pretty well because it's Ottawa, Seattle, Islanders, Philadelphia, and Chicago. And all the Wings have to do is continue to play with that same type of intensity. And hell, I wouldn't be surprised if the Red Wings can kind of just cement some positioning in WC2.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the very position on the west side that the Flames are looking to reclaim as well. And it's going to be very intriguing to see if they're able to do so. And you know what? It's a tough hill. It's a tough hill to climb because so many of the teams ahead of them are getting hot right now. We're talking about the Oilers. Let's just go through some of these scores, John. The Oilers are in wild card 1 coming into tonight. And they come away with a massive victory, 7-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Also, Minnesota Wild, and this is not a surprise given the kind of year that Columbus has had, they shut out the Blue Jackets 2-0. And so Minnesota, who is in that wild card 2 spot, they actually extend themselves, and now the Flames basically have to win this game against Vegas just to keep themselves close. They're walking a tightrope right now, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And just the score lines that you talk about with a 6-5, the Sabres scored 6 on Vasilevsky, and McDavid out of the 7, he actually got a penalty shot goal in the third as it was a 7-2 win against the Pens. I guess the one thing that's bad for you in the West, that's good for me in the East because the Red Wings were actually trailing the Pens by 1 point, and now they'll get leapfrogged on that side. So, yeah, these are big-time swings, and I'm surprised, too. I think it was a lead for the LA Kings again. Yes, it was 2-0, and then they lose 4-3 to the Devils. Again, the Kings will know how good Arizona is. Again, you just got to that the other day in a big win, but they had a 5-0 lead against Arizona on the weekend. They had to win that one 6-5 in a shootout. So, yeah, these games are very important, and I think the only other final again, and this was curious for me, but maybe they see the writing on the wall that I don't just yet. As the Ducks, they get a humongous win over the Caps, and it seems like the Caps have been starting to sell, my friend.
Yeah, what an interesting time we could be stepping into for the Washington Capitals. I don't want to speak too dramatically, I would say, John, about the Capitals situation, but when you're losing to the Ducks the way they did, and listen, there are things that they can't control, and it's a very sad occurrence in the life of one of the best players to ever play the game. But Alex Ovechkin, with the death of his father, he was away from the team for a small handful of games, and that impacted the team's performance during that time. And now the Ducks get this win. The Capitals, who are in a similar position to the Flames, they're a couple points back of that wild card 2 spot. It does seem like they're starting to sell, and that has begun with former Flame Garnet Hathaway and blue liner Dmitry Orlov going to the Boston Bruins, who are obviously obvious with a capital O, and then every other letter in the word capital as well, buyers, because they're making a push to make it all the way to the promised land this year with the kind of season that they've been having.
And I just want to throw this out there. I know it's an obvious statement here, but Dmitry Orlov is no slouch. And considering what Boston already has on the blue line in between Grzelcyk, McAvoy, and all that, I wonder where Orlov is actually going to pencil in as far as that 6 pairing.
Yeah, and so just to get halfway out of the way, and I remember watching him for a couple of seasons with the Flames, and frankly, I remember being disappointed when he left the team because he's and this was prior to Darryl Sutter, but he's kind of a Sutter type player. He's got that grinder mentality. He's not afraid to drop the mitts if necessary, but also has just enough of a silky touch to get a goal here and there that can swing a game. So he's going to be a fixture on that, potentially the third line, depending on how they shake things out. Maybe and then a fourth line minimum. But yeah, you're absolutely right about Orlov. He's a difference maker as a defender. Makes me think about kind of the buzz around Sherratt when he was sort of a top free agent.
Sure.
And then made a contribution that was pretty significant. I think Orlov could do the same kind of thing.
I think so too. And then the other thing that's interesting for me, the Minnesota Wild and Bill Guerin, they might not be making a lot of trades, but they've certainly been using their cap space. Is Andrei Sledikov on the other side of the Bruins for the Wild for a 5th-round pick and the 25% salary retention. They had to do the same thing. And I couldn't talk to you about this last week because the trade had happened just after our broadcast. But what did you think about Ryan O'Reilly going to the Toronto Maple Leafs?
This is such a simple reaction to it. Instead of getting into the details, we could go through the numbers. It just feels off to me. I'm not saying it's the wrong move, and I'm not saying that he won't have success there. I mean, he's such a impactful hockey player. I think he's going to make a difference. You can put him on almost any team, put any sweater on him, and he's immediately going to be one of the best players on the squad. But for some reason, John, and I cannot put my finger on it, I almost should apologize because I sort of can't fully explain why this is sticking in my brain like this. But I just don't see it as the right fit to go from the Blues to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously they wanted a veteran presence, kind of an all-around player. Ryan O'Reilly's game. This is a bit of a maybe it's a bit of a stretch. You can tell me if I'm off base on this one. Maybe it's recency bias because we're covering the Flames and I'm thinking about Calgary. But, his game actually reminds me a lot of Jerome McGinley. Really well-rounded, physical, not going to get pushed around, can facilitate, solid passer, obvious leadership, isn't afraid to get chippy if necessary, and, of course, has goal-scoring prowess. Those are all things that any team would want. But, John, maybe you can help me. Define it for me. Why do I feel like it's not the right fit in Toronto?
So here's the thing the other day when he got the hat trick, and it's like, all right, we'll see if he's going to break out. And again, his numbers, he got about 27 points in the season before he goes to Toronto. I'm not going to say that Toronto gave up a ton to get him. I actually understand why they did it, but I think it's more so to quench the demons from the 2004 not winning a playoff series. Because the way that I look at Ryan O'Reilly, you have the Stanley Cup leadership from 2019 from the worst to first. You can put him on the 3rd and 4th line now if you want to. I know that sounds crazy to say, but I mean that. You can put him on that spot. You know that you have stability. You have another centerman that Toronto can use that can also provide you some leadership. But I think when it comes down to it, the reason why that trade was pulled for Kyle Dubas, not only because of the job and the situation like that, but I really believe it, you're going to have that leadership, that Stanley Cup presence, and that camaraderie and that calmness that when the Maple Leafs are going through it and you feel those butterflies in the stomach, Ryan O'Reilly is someone that can quench it, and that's why I feel like they made the move.
Yeah, you know what? You just, in a really succinct way, you just made it make sense. And just hearing you describe it that way, and listen, I don't want to discount the hat trick and the stats and what Ryan O'Reilly can do. You make two excellent points. The 2 takeaways I'm getting from what you just commented are, 1, he is going to make the 3rd and even the 4th line, and they could shake it out that way.
Yes.
You know what? If he's on a 4th line, it immediately becomes as quality as the 3rd line. If he's on a 3rd line, effectively, it's immediately the quality of the 2nd line, or almost. Maybe we'll call it like a 2.5. And that is massive. And then in the room, that's it. It's that simple. When, Austin Matthews has been there, Marner's been there. We can go down the list of names players that have been there in the playoffs. But to push past the hurdles that keep tripping the Toronto Maple Leafs up, it may take the strength and leadership of Ryan O'Reilly. Great point, John. Excellent.
That's what I feel, and that's what I'm going with. So just a couple other trades to talk about as we're in our first intermission. So the Chicago Blackhawks actually made a move. They got Nikita Zaitsev from the Ottawa Senators. 2nd and the 4th is going to go back to Ottawa for future considerations as well. And that's always quote, end quote. And then the contract of Shea Weber that was picked up by the Arizona Coyotes, so that will allow the Vegas Golden Knights to be able to get cap relief for Dyson Mayo on the other end. So those are just a couple trades as we're still just away from the deadline, as that's going to be probably about another week or so. And the biggest point that I heard, again, I know we talk about some things just to talk about things, but I'll mention this between Ken Daniels and Mickey Redmond on the Red Wings side when I was watching a little bit of that game earlier before we got ready for tonight. Who is the biggest rumor right now? And it's more than just noise. Patrick Kane wants to go to the Rangers. And if it's a situation, let me just throw this out there. Mika Zibanejad, Artemi Panarin, Chris Kreider, Vincent Trocheck, Vladimir Tarasenko, and Patrick Kane would be the top 6 for the Rangers.
I mean, what can you even say, John? It sounds like I'm playing EA Sports NHL. It's like I'm playing Kel right now, and then I'm just picking the best forwards in the league and putting them all together. Listen, I know this isn't 2015. This is not the Patrick Kane of 8 years ago or 10 years ago, but he has turned up his game of late, and he is putting stats up on the board and making a difference for the Blackhawks. And I think it's pretty clear. Of course, it helps Chicago, not in a particularly meaningful way because of where Chicago is in the standings, just kind of as a franchise as a whole. He's showing off. I think he's showing what he can still do and making himself that much more attractive to a team like the Rangers or another top contender.
Yeah, he's showing the rest of the world right now that he is not injured or at least can play through it, because the other note that I saw the other day, and this was official, the Chicago Blackhawks are not going to be able to move on from Jonathan Toews and that contract because of long COVID. So unfortunately, they can't continue to add to that rebuild, but Patrick Kane is going to be on the move. The question is, who is going to pick them up? And I just want to throw this out there quickly for the Rangers. And I'm not throwing Shesterkin under the bus, because when you're 25-9-7 and you got a 259 goals against and a 912 save percentage, you're still having a great year. But Cooper, to me, that doesn't sound like Shesterkin numbers. But yet, if they have Tarasenko and they get Kane, and you bet that Shesterkin is going to pick it up in the playoffs, I understand the year that Boston's had, and I understand how good Tampa is because we've seen it. Would you not put the Rangers in like second or third as far as not even in the East, but maybe like one of the best teams in the NHL?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you're just not, and I'm sure there'll be people that would disagree, but I don't think that they're paying attention if they do disagree. And you know what? If Kane makes that move, if he ends up a blue shirt, I mean, what a coup for New York to pick up Tarasenko and then potentially Patty Kane. And you know what? I'm going to take a page out of the book that you just read from when you were talking about O'Reilly. You want to talk about a player whose heart rate's going to stay low in the playoffs?
Yes.
I mean, Patrick Kane's got rings, name on the cup multiple times. He's played with Toews all those years. He's played with such talented players around him and been put in challenging situations. And more often than not, has come out on top. And that's what the Rangers are looking for. And I think that's what he brings as well.
Do you want to take this second period that's upcoming, my friend?
I think I will not tempt fate. I gently will say that the feed has been steady for me on my side. So, yeah, I think I'll jump in a little bit of play-by-play. And thank you for completely unexpectedly taking the play-by-play when my feed was not as reliable. But, yeah, now we're back here getting a shot, an aerial shot of Las Vegas. And we are back for the start of the second period. It's NHL Hockey Night on ESPN. Calgary Flames are in town in Vegas from Alberta. And we are, I believe, we're underway here. No, this is a replay. Haha, looks live. They fooled me, John. But we are about to start the second period. And the Flames did a really nice job in that first 20 minutes, don't you think, of maintaining dominance in their play. They looked good and held the offensive zone more than their opponents, and they come away with that 1-0 advantage coming into the second stanza.
Yeah, they completely dictated everything that you'd want to against the team. Let's talk about it. 34-18-5. The Vegas Golden Knights, despite all their goaltending injuries, they're still first in the Pacific. They're trying to show that they can win this division, be back to the same old Vegas, and Calgary had a great first period.
Yeah, they did. Now, one thing that was part of the story of the first period was power play time for the Calgary Flames. They did not score on the power play, but they had 3 opportunities. So they've been advantaged 3 times, 0 for 3 on the power play. Interestingly, coming into the game, the Flames were 22nd in the league, so kind of that bottom tier in power play, and that percentage is going to drop. But on the other side, something to keep an eye on, the Flames have been good and disciplined so far. That they are facing a Golden Knights team who are 19th coming into this game on the power play and 17th on the penalty kill. And we are now 10 seconds into the second period, so I will take the play-by-play as the Flames move from right to left on your radio dial. The Golden Knights are, of course, the home squad moving left to right. Now here's Andrew Mangiapane with a wrist shot right on, and and gets me into the action as the commentator just about 30 seconds into this first period. Nice save by Brossoit.
And that wasn't even just a shot, just for window dressing. That was right toward the left side of the circle, and it was fired right on. So Brossoit had to pick up right where he left off in that first period, where he was excellent.
Yes, indeed. Both goaltenders made some really big saves. Dan Vladar with some unorthodox ones, as we mentioned, in those first few minutes, and kept that game tied, scoreless, until the Flames got the first of the evening, thanks to Jacob Pelche. Now they win an offensive zone draw. Here's Dube, sends it to Toffoli. Now a backhand pass kind of bounces around inside. It's up in the air near the crease, and that was almost put in the back of the net by the Flames. But the puck will bounce to the corner, and now here come the Golden Knights the other way. It's a 3-on-3. This one goes back to Marchessault, but it's through the wickets, and now picked up by Tyler Toffoli. He comes down the near wing and steps around on the Knights. Going to take a Johnny Gaudreau shot, and that sharp-angled wrister is turned aside by Laurent Brossoit. Now it's a one-on-one the other way for the Golden Knights. That is Jack Eichel, number 9 on his golden jersey, and 49 was the number that was checking him. That's Jacob Pelche. So now Jonathan Huberdeau, the Flames' major pickup in the offseason, who has not had a major impact, but has been playing better of late. He tries to hold the puck in the offensive zone, can't do so, but the Flames keep possession. They now have 20 shots on the night to just 8 for Vegas. Zadorov sent it forward. Now it's a 2-on-2. Pelche to Huberdeau. Huberdeau alone in front, scores! Calgary takes a 2-0 lead, and Jonathan Huberdeau makes me look foolish. What a beautiful play. Controls in front and puts it behind Brossoit.
What a great play there. Pelche still patient. That was Kadri with an extra pass. It was Pelche across for Huberdeau, almost halfly cheaply between the legs, but he was able to fool Brossoit and finish it off the forehand. What a gorgeous goal and setup by the Flames.
Boy, Jacob Pelche, a multi-point night. He now has a goal and an assist. He fed the man who was supposed to be the Flames' best player, and he looked like the best player on that play right there. Controlled the puck, almost let it trail behind him, but kept it on the blade of his stick and pushed it past Brossoit, who was at the other post. So he had about half the net to shoot at from about a foot away, and he made no mistake, did Jonathan Huberdeau. So the Flames now lead 2-0, and they get a nice early goal here, not even 2 minutes into the second period, and I think that puck is up and over the glass for a stoppage.
Yes, it is, and we're getting another look at this goal. It's just Kadri near the right side of the blue line, sets it up for Pelche, cross pass for Huberdeau, and that's just too easy for a goal scorer like him, but it seems like the puck went over the glass, and Vegas is on the power play.
Oh, yes, you are right, John. That is an unfortunate unfolding of events right here for Calgary. They had everything going for them, but you know what? We talked about special teams. Now it comes into play. The Flames had 3 opportunities in the first period with the man advantage. Now they are down a man, and they will have to kill this penalty for delay of game. So 8:15 on the clock, and there is an errant pass right there. Mackenzie Weegar goes for 2. He is sitting right now, and the puck is back in the trapezoid at the left side of the ice behind Brossoit, and the Golden Knights will break this one out up at the far wall. There's Smith. Nice job right there. Poke checked away by Backlund. Also Chris Tanev. Amadio sends it over to Theodore. Now back to Amadio. Eichel has it. Holds near the left face-off dot. Now down low to Amadio. They try to go bang-bang. And this one is cleared out. Good placement right there by Nikita Zadorov, who helps out his goaltender right in front of Dan Vladar, who, again, worth noting, John, playing on back-to-back nights. So I wonder what that says about Darryl Sutter and his decision-making regarding his goalie tandem of Markstrom and Vladar. Maybe we should flip that order to Vladar and Markstrom. So right now, the Flames have 1 minute and 10 seconds left to kill up this power play. That is the first of the night for Vegas. Now here's Smith from the dot, and a glove save by Vladar. He snatches that one out of the air to keep this game 2-0.
I'll know I'll see this ahead of you, but the Golden Knights 0 for 24 on their power plays, 1 for 31 in the last 14 games since the Mark Stone injury. My goodness.
Yeah, so if I'm reading you correctly, I think you might be 2 or 3 seconds ahead of me on your feed. But luckily, I still have a clear one on my side, so I'll take it as long as I can get it. 57 seconds have gone here in the man advantage for the home team, and getting blown out of the face-off dot right there is William Karlsson. So Marchessault steps in, so trading 71 for 81. On the other side, it's Elias Lindholm. Nice clean win right there for the assistant captain for Calgary. And this one will bounce all the way down. Good clear by the Calgary Flames right there. Nice, simple clearance of the puck all the way down, and now taken by Pietrangelo. 17 minutes to go here in the second. 21 shots for Calgary, 2 goals, and 9 shots, no goals for the Golden Knights. William Karlsson will leave this puck for Phil Kessel. None other than Phil Kessel. All I have to do is look for that candy cane stripe on the stick, and he makes a nice move right there. There's a veteran play. Passes the puck to himself off the near boards. Keeps the puck in the ozone. Now Carrier tries to get it to Pietrangelo. The Flames are going to break out the other way. It's a partial breakaway and a nice low shot from Lindholm. Kept that along the surface of the ice, and it's a right pad save. Another stop for Brossoit. So Pietrangelo the other way. Bounces this one behind Vladar off the kick plate. Karlsson has it in the far corner. Turns Chris Tanev around. Now Toffoli tries to poke that one away. Can't do so. Carrier has it down low. Pietrangelo now holds. Going to gently feather this one along to no one in particular in the far corner. And sauce pass goes out to Mangiapane. Now out of the ice is Mackenzie Weegar. But I think we have potentially an offside here, John. The Flames whistled down. So there's a stoppage.
Yes, we do. It was a play that looked pretty good, but just a stride out in front there is going to look at the shorthanded opportunity for Calgary off of a stick play. And Dillon Dube, again, as you said, he's been all over it tonight, per usual.
Yeah, Dillon Dube has really turned things up of late, and he looked particularly good, as I mentioned, on the power play, one of the power plays for the Flames in the first period, but looking really good at 5-on-5. Mangiapane having a nice game as well. So some of the Flames here stepping up. I think that they know how important this game is, and right now they are playing like it. Jonathan Huberdeau with the second goal of the game from Jacob Pelche and Nazem Kadri, and Pelche had that first goal for the Flames. That's how we are at 2-0. Now coming in just onside is Vegas, and they get that one through the blue paint, and now a shot from the near half boards. Boy, oh boy, that was a whipped shot right there by Zach Whitecloud, and Dan Vladar luckily had a clear look at it and makes the glove save.
Go ahead and give a shout out, my friend, of what you're about to see on your screen. Matty Beniers with a goal for the Kraken as they take the lead.
Well, I know that puts a smile on your face. You have the authentic Matty Beniers jersey. You're repping UM and Seattle. That one, of course, purchased from none other than the official team store in Northgate, which is a neighborhood in Seattle, Washington. And speaking of which, one of our listeners, John Dawson, doesn't live too far from there. So, yeah, I hope you get a chance to wear that for the playoff run that I would love to see the Kraken make this year out of the West. Also hoping to make a playoff run, the Calgary Flames, but they have to keep doing work here against the Vegas Golden Knights. They lead 2-0 with just about 4.5 minutes gone in this second period. So right now, Vegas is going to take this at the center red line, and they're at the near half boards. This will be picked up by Chris Tanev, though. He'll leak this one out in front of Jacob Pelche, who's had a great game tonight, already 2 points on the evening. Now Nazem Kadri is going to go head-to-head against 2 of the Knights, and he will lose control of the puck as he's checked off by Whitecloud. Now 2-on-2 the other way. Here's Eichel right into the slot. Here comes Vegas. How did that stay out? Dan Vladar puts a left pad down and keeps that one out of his cage. That's an incredible stop right there on Vegas' 11th shot of the night, and I think we have an icing. So stoppage right there, John. Boy, I got to get your thoughts. How did Vegas not make it 2-1?
Jack Eichel near the left side of the faceoff down. It looked like maybe it was Paul Cotter in the middle of the circles. He was just trying to get around big Nikita Zadorov, and that's how he couldn't finish. And it was a great pad save by Vladar as he did stretch out.
You know, this is one of the dangerous scenarios that we've seen from the Vegas Golden Knights. They had some trailing forwards that the Flames had difficulty picking up in the first period. And there's the first example of that here in the second. Luckily, every single time the shot has either gone wide or been stoned and turned away by the Flames netminder, Dan Vladar, big number 80, standing in the blue paint. So the Flames are ahead on that shot board. They have doubled up the Vegas Golden Knights by a shot total of 22-11. Now here comes Walker Duehr. He steps right in off of a quick pass by Milan Lucic. They have inverted numbers there. That's 17 and 71. But Walker Duehr just missed that top corner. Could have made it 3-0. But now the Knights come the other way. Although they can't hold possession, Nikita Zadorov tries to find Pelche, and the trap is way behind Vladar. Pelche goes down to the ice, and the Vegas Knights have it at the blue line. Now the Knights will attempt to hold it in the near corner. They can't do so. It's picked up by Calgary. Milan Lucic chips it off the glass. Now the Flames have a 2-on-2. Here's Lewis. He'll hold at the left dot. Tries to send across. Toffoli couldn't get a clean shot off, but a nice attempt on the backhanded pass by Lewis right there. Toffoli is known to score from there. And now a partial breakout. Here comes Lindholm. Way out of his crease is Brossoit. here, but it's still somehow 2-0. And the Vegas Golden Knights a few minutes ago almost made it 2-1. So here comes Calgary the other way. They're looking good in this game so far as we near the halfway point. 13 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this second period. 2-0 Calgary. The Flames look for possession in the far corner. They do not hold the puck, though. Vegas will get it out of their zone, and a nice cross-ice pass is now tipped away by Chris Tanev. Great stick right there. Took away a distance sauce pass just out of the air and chipped it to a teammate. Now the Flames try to hold in their own end, but can't do so near the players' benches. It's Marchessault. They'll chip that one along. Correction, that was William Karlsson. But either way, it's picked up by Dan Vladar, and this one is tapped back by Mackenzie Weegar to his pairing mate, Chris Tanev. Now McWeegar gets tied up awkwardly with one of the Vegas Golden Knights' stick, but Mangiapane will take it up the near wall. The puck is loose, and it's quickly picked up by the home team. So coming up right down Broadway in the middle of the ice, a shot from way out near the blue line, handcuffs Vladar. He can't control the rebound, and this one bouncing all the way back to the half boards on the near side. Nice check right there by Keegan Kolesar. He put, I believe, Weegar into the glass, and now Dennis Gilbert will chip this one along where Andrew Mangiapane will forecheck. The Flames officially, thanks to ESPN, 11 scoring chances in this game to just 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights. That's official scoring chances. And now the Flames will take this puck behind their own netminder. Pelche with a nice stretch pass right there. I think he found Nazem Kadri. Now the trailer, Noah Hanifin tries to backhand one near Brassois, but it goes behind the net. No damage right there. Now Eichel, he comes up the near side. This centering pass attempt is deflected off of his skate. He holds it again. Now Nazem Kadri doing his best goalie impression. He puts the pads together, and by pads I mean skate blades, and stops the centering attempt. Now the puck is paddled aside by Vladar, taken now by Jonathan Huberdeau. So the Flames have their first line out, and they will make this change as they were out for the last 65 seconds or so. 11:40 to go in this second period. 2-0 Calgary. They've looked very good. So Chris Tanev does a good job right there of rubbing Jack Eichel off the puck, although his clearance pass sails to the penalty box area and eventually is picked up by Vegas. A lot of unbroken action here, John. I haven't heard your voice in a while. We're going to have to get your thoughts on how this second period is going, as the Flames have Weegar and Tanev out on the ice right now. They've been doing a lot of work tonight as well. Some of the unsung efforts that have kept this 2-0 lead intact for the visitors. Now coming out of their own end is Vegas with Pietrangelo. He'll send it forward, and it's chipped down. Now awkwardly in front, it's left off of the skate, the glove of Zadorov. He was trying to bat that puck away from his netminder and actually bounced off his knuckles and was sitting on the doorstep. So now we're going to get a stoppage, John. I'm not sure if that touched a player on the Knights bench, although it looks like one of the Zebras is indicating high sticking. So some more information to come. Could be another power play for Vegas.
Well, you had the action right on top of you. I think you did a great job. That Elias Lindholm, Laurent Brossoit play, that's going to be one that's going to be sticking out of my mind because it was a race for the puck. I think the Flames have played a pretty damn good contest, to be honest with you. We've always been wondering where this team has been, but if they can continue to play games like these against competition like this, I feel pretty good about what I'm seeing right now about halfway through this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is the proving ground, and we have a moment to talk about it as we hit a commercial break. It's one thing to do it against the Arizona Coyotes, and look, the Arizona Coyotes are not complete pushovers here. They're doing just well enough to really make some noise in contests. They may not end up with the win, but they're making teams work for it, and the Flames certainly had to work for it. But you know what? The Vegas Golden Knights, dare I say it, when you look at scoring chances, and not necessarily we're not just talking physical gameplay. We're talking about scoring chances, shot attempts, high danger shots. The Flames are pushing Vegas around a little bit in their own building. Or am I taking it a step too far, John?
You're not, because the scoring chances at one point I saw flash across the screen were 15-2 in favor of the Flames. So that speaks to that point for sure. I think the Golden Knights are actually lucky to only be down a pair.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I'll take your word for it. I trust you. We're friends. I know you would shoot me straight here. So, all right, I'm not pumping up the Flames too much. They're doing that for themselves. They're really looking sharp, and I cannot think of a single player. Other than it's basically ice time. It's not like we've said Trevor Lewis's name all that much. We haven't really seen Milan Lucic be a standout or play Coleman, but we have seen those top two lines in particular, we're talking about Huberdeau, Kadri, Pelche, Mikael Backlund, Mangiapane, Dube. Those forwards have really made a difference here for the Flames, and we'll see what they can do. Although they aren't out on the ice right now, it's an offside after a nice, clean, neutral zone face-off win for the Knights. So we'll do this one again, and some of those names I just mentioned, including Milan Lucic, are out there for the Flames right now. So we get a quick look at the players' bench there. The Flames look calm and confident. Again, it's a 2-0 lead here, 10:51 to go in the second period, and make that two clean neutral zone face-off wins in a row for Vegas. The puck has slid all the way to Dan Vladar. He will backhand that one to Chris Tanev, and now here come the Flames the other way, moving right to left. This one backhanded along by Lucic, heads all the way to Brossoit, who comes out of his crease and passes this one along to a teammate near the near boards. Now Mackenzie Weegar, he's battling for possession near the penalty boxes. The puck sends all the way back to Zach Whitecloud. He can't handle it cleanly, though. Milan Lucic actually comes away with it in the trapezoid. Now Walker Duehr, who had a goal a night ago, he looks for possession, but the Flames will make a change here. So Lucic and Duehr go off, and the puck will rattle around in the near corner on the Flames end of the ice. Oh, and a correction, Milan Lucic is still out there. And John, it wouldn't be a John Ott Cooper Hopkins game if we didn't have a stick on the ice. That's what we just saw, but it was actually picked up by one of the Knights. So return to sender, I guess, back to its rightful owner. And Dennis Gilbert chips in from between the blue and red lines at center ice, and then he peels off for a change. Calgary now has Noah Hanifin and Rasmus Andersson out on the ice. Noah Hanifin will chip along. He was looking for Mangiapane. He couldn't find his target, but ends up with the puck right back on his stick. Now the Flames will send it down low. Both of these goaltenders have had a lot of action coming out of their net just to corral the puck in the trapezoid behind their net. So good job by Brossoit to find a teammate right there, and Vegas will come away with it with some speed. So through the neutral zone, this puck again picked up by Hanifin, so a really good stick by him a couple of times on this shift, and now Blake Coleman has it. He looks to chip across to the far boards. That one will be shot right on from just outside the right circle. Now the Flames take another shot. That one goes wide. That was Chris Tanev firing on net. Now he'll hold the puck and go near boards, and he goes Weegar to Tanev to Weegar with a slapper. That one goes right off of an ankle. That was one of the Golden Knights right there. Now could have been a partial breakaway. Diving for the puck is Jonathan Marchessault. Luckily, no penalty taken by Tanev. He just had good physical position on the Knights forward and kept him from getting a breakout opportunity. So 24 shots for the Flames, 14 for the Vegas Golden Knights. 8 minutes, 35 seconds to go here in the middle stanza. Cooper Hopkins on the play-by-play and Twitter Spaces, along with John Ott, my now longtime broadcast partner. And now here come the Golden Knights the other way. And boy, John, this has been part of the story tonight, too, is clean lanes to shoot with the shots going just high and wide. That was the case on that shot attempt by Alex Pietrangelo. So boy, oh boy, there are a couple spots here in this second period where the Flames have just lost a trailing forward. We've seen that a handful of times throughout the game, but no damage yet. It's still 2-0 Calgary. Now a shot's going to come from way out, and boy, getting dumped to the ice right there is, I believe, William Carrier. He was turned sideways before he hit the frozen ice surface, and he's backed up, doesn't seem to be injured or worse for wear, but the Flames will chip in and go for the change. And now a stretch pass goes all the way from the red line to the center red line. Although the Knights can't hold possession, Rasmus Andersson avoids a check. He gets that puck to Toffoli, who goes angled over to Hanifin. Now with some speed to the neutral zone is Trevor Lewis. Tries to chip this one to himself unsuccessfully. And possession will be picked up by the Golden Knights. Possession numbers, I'd be curious to see what's changed here, John, as a shot attempt is blocked by Noah Hanifin. Boy, Noah Hanifin doing an excellent job in this period. Really active stick. He has prevented passing opportunities, and right there prevents a shot from getting anywhere near Dan Vladar. 7 minutes to go here in the second period. Nice job by Rasmus Andersson to check the Knights off the puck along the glass to Dan Vladar's right. Now here comes Dillon Dube. He's had a great contest so far, but he's pushed off the puck right there by Shea Theodore. Coming the other way are the Golden Knights, and avoiding a check right there with a little pirouette is Michael Amadio. Boy, he could have been dropped right there if he didn't get his head up, and he did so just in time. So right now the Flames are going to battle for possession in the far corner in their own end, and they will come away with a nice job right there to pull the puck out of a crowd. Now Milan Lucic looks for Dure, and Dure goes for a slap shot right there, kind of a snap, half slapper as he was approaching Brossoit, and he gets upended sort of halfway through his shot attempt, John. A hand goes in the air immediately. Now it looks like we're going to get some extracurricular. Dennis Gilbert taking exception to Braden McNabb, and gloves are dropped, but the referees prevent a fight, John. Boy, there's lots going on right now.
Yeah, there is. I just seen this big body contact. Hopefully we get a piece of it now. As Dube was driving to the net, he got absolutely upended after the opportunity, and I think there's going to be an immediate power play here for the Flames, but with Nikita Zadorov's body contact against Michael Amadio, we might have some more things to sort out when we come back from the commercial break.
Yeah, I do think we have something to sort out. Yep, and there's a call. I'm not sure if it is a penalty being drawn by Walker Dure, number 71 for the Flames, or if he is being called for a penalty for potentially interfering with Brossoit. He was steaming toward the net. He did get a shot off that was turned aside by I believe, by the left pad of Brossoit. But that's a crazy sequence right there. Could have been 3-0 Flames, but yet players flying all over the place, and then a fight almost breaks out. My goodness.
No, it's a good look by you. I appreciate you bringing that up because the latter, you're correct. At 13:40, it looks like Walker Dure for interference against Laurent Brossoit, so you nailed it. So it should be a Golden Knights power play when we come back, as long as we don't get anything else from the commercial break.
Yeah, that's an interesting call right there. I do think that he was pushed into the goaltender, but he already had so much speed. I'm not sure if he would have been able to avoid it anyway. So I don't know how much of that was a judgment call by the referee. Not something that I can argue too vehemently, but it's going to be an interesting challenge here. So all of the power plays for the Flames in the first period, and all of the penalty kills for the Flames here in this second.
That's what it seems like right now. And then when I gave over the last few minutes talking about how I liked how the Flames have played, I'll still say that. But when you talked about puck possession, it seemed like 6 or 7 minutes ago because you had so much unbroken play. It's been all Golden Knights in this middle frame right now. So the Flames are going to have to try to find a way to get back in the offensive end. And again, I would say about 5 of those chances in between the first 2 periods so far have been slot shot opportunities that have just missed the net. So the Flames got to clean that up.
Yeah, we definitely have to keep an eye on the developments that you just mentioned. I'm just, hey, as a fan, but and a broadcaster, just curious about what the Flames are missing when it comes to that trailing forward who just seems to get clean opportunities on too consistent a basis. But right now, it's going to be an opportunity with a man advantage as Smith comes in from the near face-off circle and fires an absolute seed at Dan Vladar, and he is stopped. Boy, no rebound either. Great save by Dan Vladar, one of his most important of the night. And Nikita Zadorov was turned around. They couldn't close down the shooter. And Dan Vladar answers the door right there and says, please, stay out. My goodness. So keeping me on my toes. They're not, the Vegas Golden Knights are not just settling into this power play. They are looking to cut the Flames lead in half. 6:07 to go here in the second. And that lead still is 2 goals for Calgary, no goals for Vegas, and it is now, the puck, I should say, is all the way back down at the Vegas end of the ice. It actually happened to slide right into the pads of Brossoit, and he sets up one of his teammates, and that's Jack Eichel, who breaks out to the neutral zone, and Stephenson tries to hold it. Puck squeaks out to Eichel, and he'll tap this one back to Theodore at the blue line. Now here comes Amadio. He steps in, tries to shoot, and Zadorov got a leg in the way. So the puck never made it to net, but Eichel, good job right there holding possession. Theodore again, back to Eichel. Eichel in the far corner, and there is the first goal of the night, courtesy of Jack Eichel. He fires a bullet and puts it in the back of the net, 2-1.
I was going to say that the Golden Knights power play hasn't looked all that bad in this game as this is cycled on the blue line side. Eichel's going to pick it up near the left dot, and he just fires an absolute laser 5-hole through Vladar. It's now 1 for 26 for the Golden Knights in the power plays. He's got his 4th goal in the last 6 games, does Jack Eichel.
Yeah, John, you know what, I have to be honest, I was already preparing myself to speak highly of Jack Eichel, which is much deserved really on any given night, but especially during this power play, he looked like a man on a mission. He was keeping puck possession, making crisp passes, putting himself in the right spots to get clean looks at the net, and he did right there. I think he went up and over the right pad of Vladar and under the blocker. Just a beautiful targeted shot right there with pace, and he made no mistake. It is 2-1, and the special teams conversation is one we're going to have to keep having, John, because the Flames did not convert on any of their power plays. 0 for 3, now 1 for 2 is Vegas, and this is a much, much closer game. We'll see how the Flames respond. So 25 shots for Calgary, 16 for Vegas. Jack Eichel, the only goal scorer for the Golden Knights. For the Flames, it's Jonathan Huberdeau with that second goal. The first goal of the night for the Flames was scored by Jacob Pelche. Now with the puck, Nazem Kadri. He sends this one in from distance, but this will hit someone right in the hip, and that one pool cues out into the crowd. Boy, that was about 15 rows deep right there. So just under 5 to go here, John. It's a new hockey game. And what are you seeing in terms of the way the ice is tilted? Do you think things are even right now, or do you think it's tilting in the favor of Vegas?
I think it's actually going the way of Vegas. I know that they still need one more to tie this game, but over the last 7 or 8 minutes, as we've called, I just see the puck in one end. We talk about some of the situations about Calgary that they missed some chances in the slot for some missed assignments. That's the truth. And if some of those would have been converted, we could be talking maybe at least this game should be tied, or maybe Vegas should have the lead at this point. So I would say within this last 5 minutes, this is a very important time period here for the Flames to try to just show that they can start pushing the pace back in the other end and not have Vegas run roughshod all over them.
Yeah, this is going to be the first real test of the night, right? Because I think we agreed several minutes ago that the Flames have looked very good up to this point. And, listen, it wasn't even a massive breakdown defensively. They're on the penalty kill.
Right.
Jack Eichel's Jack Eichel. Sometimes he's going to get you. Like some of these players we talked about, Ryan O'Reilly, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews when healthy. You know what? There are just certain players in the league. They're going to get their points. They're going to get their goals and assists. And right there, you would expect Eichel to make a difference on the man advantage. He does just that. So I'm not particularly frustrated with anything I've seen from the Flames in this period. Other than a couple of moments that actually did not result in goals. But, this is more mental right now. They're just a few minutes away from getting back to the room. Will they still have the lead? That's the biggest question. If they do, I think that bodes well for the third period.
Yeah, because if you're looking on the shop board right now in the second period alone, it's 14-3 for Vegas. So you got to see what they do with this offensive zone draw upcoming.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're getting a look at Eichel on the bench right there, the goal scorer just moments ago for Vegas. So a big, big face-off coming up right here for Calgary. They need to win this one, and we'll see what happens as the puck is dropped. They're going to try to gain possession here in the offensive zone. Can't do so, although the puck does bounce off the end boards, and there's a spinning shot right there that goes well wide by Walker Duehr. Now battling for the puck is Lucic. She's up there with White Cloud in the far corner to Brossois' left. Now this one backhanded near the slot, but held by Vegas, so no danger right there. And the puck will bounce all the way to the far corner on the Flames side of the ice. It's backhanded along, picked up by Vegas. Vegas still has the puck right here. And Rasmus Andersson battles for possession. Can't come away with it, though. Vegas has it at the blue line. Going to send this one over to White Cloud. White Cloud from way outside. That hits a leg. And Noah Hanifin's in there with his stick again. Just an active stick. Number 55 on the blue line for the Flames, making a difference in this period. Changing possession, getting the puck to teammates. He's looked really good. I know I keep hitting that button, but he deserves the mention for sure. So the puck is back on Hanifin's stick yet again. Milan Lucic can't hold. So basically an immediate turnover right there by the former Boston Bruins man. And a nice turnaround right there by Jack Eichel. You're going to have to look out. Eichel's very sharp at the moment. He finds White Cloud near the blue line. Sends this one out to the left point. 3:45 to go here in the second, and a turnover right there. The Flames were able to chip this one away. Lucic had it on his stick before going for a change. Now the puck will slide all the way down, and we will get an icing. That was just on the left side of the center red line. So the faceoff will come to Brossois' side of the ice.
Again, I want to see how this period closes here for Calgary, because it just feels like, to me, they're on the precipice of having a tie game at this point. They played too well to not have it, but I think you're going to be happy here in a minute.
Yeah, that last shift, I should say, was definitely in favor of the Knights. But here's a nice ozone draw that is won cleanly by Calgary. It's going to be flipped on by Tanev. That was near Mikael Backlund. Haven't said his name in a little while, but there's a shot that comes from the near half boards. It's a seeing eye puck, John, and it's in the back of the net. 3-1 Calgary. We're going to need a replay to figure this one out.
Yeah, this is just a chance, I believe, for Backlund that's fired near the left side of the dome. I mean, he got a piece of it as Haig was just looking around. Backlund has been ridiculously hot. It's his 14th already.
Oh my gosh, John, number 11 wearing the assistant captain's patch for the Flames. Boy, if you're asking me, make it a C. That was a beautiful deflection. Rasmus just clueless. Mikael Backlund left effectively unchecked. Although Nicholas Haig was in the area, I think thought he had Backlund covered. And the shot comes in from the near half boards. Backlund jumps, gets his stick on that fluttering shot, and makes it 3-1. That is a huge turn of events. The Flames regained their 2-goal advantage, and Mikael Backlund 4 straight games with at least 1 goal. Boy, look out for number 11. But here comes Jack Eichel. Got to look out for 9 on the other side, and a diving Chris Tanev can't stop a shot. But Dan Vladar, fortunately for Calgary, does. Play is stopped as I think the puck went into the players' benches. But boy, Jack Eichel shakes his head. I think he knows he had a golden opportunity, no pun intended, to make it 3-2.
Yeah, we know how big that goal just was for Calgary. I just mentioned that, how they're going to respond. Vegas was delivering some body blows, and that was a big-time goal there.
Big-time goal, and I will say just as important, that save by Dan Vladar. Eichel has really heated up over the past 10 minutes or so, and he is looking extremely dangerous. 12-19 of ice time so far, 1 goal on 3 shots for number 9 in gold. So right now with no stick, John, is Dennis Gilbert. He's down low, and there's a point-blank shot turnaround by Smith, and he fires into the flaming sea on Dan Vladar's jersey. Boy, big number 80 has answered when he's needed to tonight. Another great stop, and it's going to be a face-off to his left.
Yeah, good-looking turnaround shot for a long-tenured Reilly Smith, and on the same time for Eichel, he certainly seems to be having the skating display. He's locked in tonight.
Yeah, he is looking dangerous every single time he touches the puck. Boy, Gilbert did his best right there to block the shot, but it got through, and now a clean ozone face-off win by the Golden Knights. I'd love to see those face-off numbers. It seems to be tilting in favor of the home team. Just 2:40 to go here in the second period. The puck bounces up and over Dan Vladar. It's held in right there, bouncing, but goes wide of the crease. 26 shots for Calgary, 18 now for Vegas. That shot number is creeping up, and that one bounces off the bar, I believe. Dan Vladar looked over his left shoulder. I think he thought it was behind him. Boy, oh boy, so did I. But that one stays out thanks to the goalie's best friend. That's off the left post. Boy, oh my, John, I'm losing my mind here. This is an incredible sequence here over the past 5 minutes or so, with now just 2:10 to go in the second. Flames just trying to get to the room with this 2-goal advantage. That was re-established by Mikael Backlund about a minute ago. Now here's a shot from way out. That one goes wide. A slapper from Alex Pietrangelo. Golden Knights doing a much better job of holding ozone time right here. Now we're inside 2 minutes to go in the second. Nikita Zadorov will try to skate this one away. He does so, gets a nice stretch pass to Kadri. It's Kadri up near the far corner. He'll touch this one back to the blue line. Immediately comes back to Kadri. Now right to left, Mackenzie Weegar with some room to work and a fire a wrister. That one's off of Pelchier's backside. Get some ice on that rear end. That couldn't have been a fun feeling. So Chris Tanev now has to skate back all the way toward Dan Vladar because the puck is on the stick of Paul Cotter. Cotter did a great job right there to take possession from neutral ice all the way to the offensive zone, but the Flames will eventually battle and come away with this one. It's chipped along by Trevor Lewis. Now 1 minute and 6 seconds to go here. I think we have a tripping call coming up, John, and I think it's going to be against the Golden Knights.
I am not quite sure yet myself. I'm still counting 5 on 5. I think we're okay right now, my friend.
Okay, my mistake. I thought I saw a hand in the air. That might have just been something inadvertent from one of the referees, but we got a live look in. You talked about Matty Benier scoring a goal. Well, they're going to need him to score again if they want the lead back, the Kraken, I mean, because the game has been tied. It is now 1-1. The Bruins just scored moments ago. So, John, we have 1:09 to go here in the second, and you are correct. There was no penalty called. I apologize for the misunderstanding on my side. The faceoff came to Dan Vladar's left. It was won by the Golden Knights, but split the defenders, and so puck rolled on edge all the way to Rasmus. Now we are inside a minute to play here. It's 3-1 Calgary. That third goal coming courtesy of Mikael Backlund on a beautiful deflection. And now, with 50 seconds to play, the Golden Knights have it in the neutral zone and send it along to Vladar. He came out of his crease, tried to handle it with the big stick, but couldn't do so. So the puck came around to the near corner. It's now held by the Knights. Knights in the far corner. Go to the blue line. Back to the far circle. Now Noah Hanifin. He chases the puck down in the near corner. Now it's to the near half boards. Milan Lucic taps to Mikael Backlund. No, excuse me, that's not Mikael Backlund. That was Elias Lindholm. And boy, Tyler Toffoli, no Walker Duer on the far side. He blew a tire, did a somersault. 22 seconds to go here in the second. Mackenzie Weegar picks up a loose puck in his own end. He'll look for a teammate, doesn't find one, going to skate this one forward and then just circle back. Patient right there, takes his time, goes to Chris Tanev. Chris Tanev finds Elias Lindholm near the penalty boxes, and he deflected that one in. Now battling with a nice forecheck right there is Tyler Toffoli. 2 seconds, 1 second, and 0 on the clock. The green lights come on, John. And this is a 3-1 contest, despite excellent efforts by the Golden Knights and Jack Eichel in particular. This is a 3-1 hockey game. The Flames are still not only in this, but 20 minutes away from getting 2 huge points.
Yeah, 4 straight points and 2 straight days off the back-to-back against the team that you're chasing that's first in the Pacific. Yeah, I could make no bones about it. This is a big-time game here for Calgary. They just showed something on the screen that I don't want to talk about, which is 6 comebacks for Vegas Golden Knights when trailing after 2. But I think this might be another one of those nail-biters, Cooper Hopkins. You might be looking at another 1-goal win for Calgary in this game.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that actually, whether or not you intended to, that brings a question to my mind. Do you think that we're going to see what we see sometimes, probably too often, from Calgary? That defensive shell, that was necessary, I would say, because of the way Vegas picked up their game in the second period. But you can't go 20 minutes and just trying to prevent the other team from scoring. You know, you see teams do it. You even see it in the playoffs. You see it during crucial moments. But I think the Flames need to stay aggressive, and frankly, I'd love to see them add another because you know that the Golden Knights can strike quickly.
Yeah, I do, because it kind of seems like maybe the last 12 minutes, 10 minutes of the second period, that might have been what exactly we were talking about, what we saw from the Flames. And if it wasn't from a deflection from Mikael Backlund at 16:34 to give the Flames a 3-1 lead, we could be talking about something completely different at the intermission, because as I said, I think you would agree with this, it was a great first period for the Flames. That was one of their better ones. Vegas has been, they won 5 out of the last 6. They've looked really good. The Jonathan Huberdeau goal was excellent from Kadri and Jacob Peltier, as that was just a beautiful finish off the Peltier's primary pass. But ever since then, when Eichel scored that power play goal, if it wasn't for the defection of Backlund, this could be a completely different game.
Yeah, and listen, leave it to Mikael Backlund, who's been so hot lately and has made such a big difference for his team. You know, that's a completely unexpected goal. I think no one thought it was going in from that angle, but that's what happens for the Calgary Flames when their game is working, and that game is, hey, get the puck on net, right? And interestingly, the vast majority of their shots came in the first period, and they did get a couple of goals out of it. But I think, John, I have to take a look at the official shot totals, but they had fewer than 10 official shots in this second period that just concluded. And they, luckily for them, got one out of it thanks to Mikael Backlund down low off the beautiful deflection.
Yeah, shots, I think, were about 16-6. If I'm like counting those in my head, that's pretty close to what it actually was in that second period for Vegas, as they really put the pressure on. And it was Vegas that snapped an 0 for 25 on the power play, as Jack Eichel got the one goal for the Golden Knights. So this should be a very interesting third period. But again, I think it comes down to what we talked about earlier. We saw it in the first period with that push. Can Calgary come out in the next maybe 5-6 minutes of the third period, put their foot on the gas, lay some of that pressure? Because to me, we talked about the defensive shell. I think that might be fine 5 or 6 minutes left to go. But I saw a little bit of that in the second period. And if they try to play that way, even without Mark Stone or some of these other pieces there for Vegas, I think this could be a different result. So I'd like to see Calgary keep up the pressure as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me ask you. I think we are thinking the same thing about this, and I often ask this question, just because frankly, I respect your opinion, and you always have something interesting to say. Even though it's 3-1 right now, and Vegas has plenty of work to do against a Calgary Flames team that, on paper should be really dangerous tonight. They have been, but I've admittedly focused a lot on the forward play tonight. Let's talk a little bit about Brossoit and Vladar. They both made some really, really important saves. I know Brossoit's let a couple of go, but first of all, what are you going to do about a blind deflection from Mikael Backlund right there that happens to just pop off his shaft and go over your shoulder? That's we can put that one aside. But there have been some really big plays from both netminders tonight. Not sure if you have anything to add to that or if you've seen anything in particular, but I've known listen, we talked about Billy Husso. You've seen some really good goalie play this year. I've liked what I've seen from the goaltenders tonight.
Yeah, because I talk about Laurent Brossoit with the Henderson Silver Knights. He spent a lot of time down there. Again, he's a fourth goalie, but he's not a fourth goalie just because. When you have Logan Thompson and you have Aiden Hill, listen, Logan Thompson made the All-Star team for the Vegas Golden Knights as a 25-year-old rookie. He is that good. But Brossoit is someone that they have had to have be in net over the last couple of years, and he's more than serviceable. He can be a goaltender at about a .915 save percentage. I know he's about an .889 right now in this game, but he is really, really good. So they can ask for that when they need it. And again, as we talked about going into this broadcast, with Dan Vladar and Jacob Markstrom off the back-to-back, this is a big-time opportunity for Dan Vladar. He didn't have, I'm going to be fair and say this, whether it's unfair, you can correct me, Cooper. He didn't have the greatest game yesterday as the offense was able to absolutely dominate against the Arizona Coyotes. But for whatever wasn't made up yesterday, he's having a terrific game right now.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, I agree with your assessment. That was not Dan Vildar's best performance. He's had some huge performances this season. And look, I don't want to ignore him. For whatever reason, I'm not sure if he just needs to go on a long vacation or talk to a new sports psychologist or change his diet. I'm talking about Jacob Markstrom. It just hasn't been his season. Yeah. I think we're at a point in the year here where the choice to go Vladar back-to-back nights after Vladar saw plenty of action. Now, he didn't see a ton of shots, but he did see a lot of high-danger action from the Coyotes, and now he's seeing a little bit more shot volume from Vegas. Definitely some clean shooting lanes, and he's been answering the call, John. And I think this has to. Let me put it this way: I think it means something. I think it speaks to Darryl Sutter's mindset. And Markstrom and Vladar, to their credit, have been very supportive of one another. Hopefully, that will continue because if the writing on the wall, if I'm reading it correctly, it certainly looks like Dan Vladar is starting to slot into that number one position in the goalie room.
I think you have to have that at this time of the year, don't you? You got a quarter of the season left, Cooper, and if you're still kind of playing that game, I know they do it in college football with some of these quarterbacks, but we're in the NHL. If you don't have that point figured out about who's going to be your tendy over the back half of the 25 games or so, I think you're putting yourself at a disservice. So I agree. I think the writing's on the wall, and if the Flames win tonight, they will be back in the wild card spot alongside or very close to the Colorado Avalanche with the same amount of points.
Yeah, John, should we, since I took it in the first intermission, are there some developments? I know a lot of games were final, and of course one went final. That was exciting for you and me. Again, bandwagon, but exciting for both of us. Anything new? Are we just looking in on the Kraken and Bruins right now? What's going on? How are things moving on the scoreboard around the league?
So let's take a look. I just want to see who scored the goals here for the Boston Bruins and the Seattle Kraken and who's in net. So it's Matty Beniers with his 19th and Jeremy McCann and Vince Dunn. 32 apples on the season. I keep saying it, but Vince Dunn needs a contract. I don't think Ron Francis is going to take too long to try to get that done. That was 40 seconds in. And then David Krejci, remember, he spent last year overseas, and he just keeps plugging away. His 13th goal of the season from Pavel Zacha and David Pastrnak. Philip Grubauer stopped 9 out of 10. Jeremy Swayman gets the start tonight. He stopped 14 out of 15. What I will say, and I know that this is a different team, but I just talked about Colorado, and I think I got to mention them for the reason. 55 games played for Colorado in the Central. Everybody else, Wild at 58, Jets and Stars all at 58. Dallas Stars lead the Central with 72. Colorado's got 67, and they got 3 games in hand. I don't know if anyone was saying this maybe 3.5 weeks ago, but I'm going to say it now. I'm going to give a hot take. The Colorado Avalanche will come all the way back, and they will win the Central Division.
That is John Ott, ladies and gentlemen, making the big, bold claims. But can I argue with you?
Go ahead.
No, I can't. I misled you. I think you expected me to right there. But you know what? It's right along the lines of what we talked about when the season was starting out, and we saw the Colorado Avalanche have I would say a mini Stanley Cup hangover. Nothing extreme, but they didn't do what I think a lot of folks expected them to do early on. But guess what? As they say, it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. And I think your prediction is correct. I think they're going to finish in a really strong position.
And this is Cale Makar again getting his second concussion over the last week and stuff like that. So I said this. I know Cooper agreed with me as much. You'd think Colorado would be healthy around the March spot and make that push. Well, here's the problem, and the reason why I say that. The Dallas Stars have been playing with their food a little bit. The Winnipeg Jets have lost some games. And the Minnesota Wild, I covered them the other day in the game against the LA Kings. And, they're fine. They can win some low-scoring games. But even when they have Kirill Kaprizov, Minnesota Wild's offense looks dead at times. Philip Gustafsson he's the clear number one now, alongside Marc-Andre Fleury on the backup side because he's at a 225 goals against. He looks great, but Minnesota Wild's offense not looking great. Never really have that concern with the Colorado Avalanche, considering how many pieces have been out of the lineup all year, and you just can't afford, if you're Dallas, if you're the Jets, if you're the Wild, to go ahead and win some, lose games that you should be winning, because I don't think Seattle is going to fall out of the wild card race as we talked about. And Colorado is going to take one of those spots. And maybe the Jets, the Stars, the Wild, they're going to play somebody that they don't want to because they just screwed around too much and lost some games they should have won.
Yeah, and you know what? When you talk about screwing around and losing games you should have won, unfortunately, one of the teams that we are covering tonight, I think currently falls into that category. They've had very unlimited, let's say limited, I'll be polite. Flames have had limited success against teams in the bottom half of the standings this year and have actually performed better, as we're seeing proof in the pudding tonight, against teams that are in the top half of the standings. I'm not sure what it is, but John, I remember very distinctly saying we've watched the Flames play down into the levels of their opponent far too often. And, as is often said in the media, those 2 points, that you leave on the table in November, December, they can come back to bite you. And it's nice to see the Flames make a push here, and they're going to have to make a serious one. Obviously, Minnesota gets the win tonight, and I actually agree with you. Their offense has been questionable, especially of late. And the Flames do what they need to do against the Coyotes, and now they're 20 minutes away from a really big result here, which I know we keep saying, but it's worth mentioning. So I'm not sure what to expect, but it certainly seems the level of play for Calgary is elevating at the time when they needed to elevate the most.
So I know it was the other day off the back-to-back or whatever, but when I'm watching that game against the Philadelphia Flyers, and then I watch this game right now as we cover it, why the Calgary Flames are so Jekyll and Hyde, it makes me pull out whatever's left of my receding hairline, but I don't get it, because when you're getting into this point now, when you're going to be playing the Avalanche on Saturday, you play games against Dallas, a couple against Minnesota. If they could play these ways against the top teams, I go back to what we talked about from the very beginning of the season, when even with the loss of Gaudreau and Tkachuk, I still think the Flames are very handedly a playoff team, and if they can get some points over the next stretch, at least get half of the next 6 games, I think they're going to do themselves a service. But I just can't understand, and I guess for you and all the other fans, we're all thinking the same thing. Why does this team look so different against good teams and not against the teams they should be beating?
Yeah, and you know what? We've been in this position, again, I think the phrase far too often. I'm using it far too often, so apologies for the repetition. But, this has been the story of the Calgary Flames this year, John, in 22-23. It's the questions that can't clearly be answered, the subpar play from players that can't fully be explained, just lapses in ability to hang with teams that you would expect the Flames to win games by 3 goals or more. It's been very confusing, and the toughest part about it, and this is my fan brain coming back into play, is just the swings, right? Just the ups and downs. It's like a sine wave. It's like you ride a momentary high, but this is not the same Flames team that won 10 games in a row a season ago. Sustained success is very hard to come by, but the same thing we just said about the Colorado Avalanche applies to the Flames. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. The asterisk on that statement is that this is no longer, obviously, this point of season. I mean, most obvious thing I could say here, we're no longer at the start, but there's still time, just enough time. And if a win against the Golden Knights is potentially an indicator of more positive things to come, yeah, there's a lot to be excited about. But we've also believed that earlier in the year and gotten bitten by that mentality.
Yeah, and with the upcoming games, I can't say this clearly enough. Looking at the wild card, because we're in the middle of our second intermission and you have to do this. So the Minnesota Wild right now, the 3rd spot in the Central. Calgary is going to be playing them twice over the span of the week and a half. That is a 8-point swing, essentially. Not 2 points just for the win, but points that you could be taking away from the Wild. I think we're going to at least be covering one of those games. I can guarantee that if the Calgary Flames take both of those games against the Wild, they'll put themselves in a spot where they'll be in the wild card and they can actually be in there firmly, give or take a couple of games. So these games cannot be any more critical. And really, it's at this point, we're February 23rd on a Thursday, about 11 Eastern for me, that this next 6-7 games could very well determine whether or not the Calgary Flames make the postseason. And that's not a hyperbolic statement.
Yeah, and you know what? Let's go. You say hyperbolic, I say hypothetical. Two similar words, very different meanings. Let's go into one quick hypothetical. I mentioned this in the first intermission. Like what I was pointing at is if things do not go well for Calgary, right? There's an outside chance they may become sellers, and some of the players on their team that might be of interest to other franchises may go elsewhere. Like I mentioned, even Backlund, Zadorov, Tanev, Toffoli would be a name that I would think could potentially move. That's if things go south for Calgary. Now, if we're going to go the other way with it, thus the hypothetical, let's say things go really well. Let's say the Flames make it through this tough stretch of games and they come away with points in every one. Hopefully 2 points in most of them. Are the Flames buyers, or do they stand pat, John? I mean, we could go through any number of potential, upcoming free agents. We could go with, we could almost make it up here. But is there anyone that stands out to you? Obviously, Patty Kane wants to go to New York. He, I don't think, has any particular interest in Calgary. Are there other names that would stand out to you that would make a difference? It seems like the Flames need a playmaking, a fast skating, playmaking kind of. If I hate to go this way, but sort of a Johnny Gaudreau-esque player. Pelche has shown flashes of that. Walker Duehr is still getting his feet wet here with the big club. Any names stand out to you, or is it something where you think that Calgary's going to stand pat and just try to make as much noise as they can with their current roster?
I know from when we last talked about it, I would go for the stand pat side of it, but if really Brad Treliving wants to dip his toes all the way into the water, all the way into the sand, whether you're going to be swimming or sinking, Timo Meier is a big one for the Sharks, but that's going to be some salary retention, multiple picks. I think that's going to be a lot to give up that Calgary wouldn't want to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Timo Meier, definitely an attractive name. And if I have to guess, probably will be on the move. But yeah, the Flames are already in a difficult salary cap position. Even if they do stand pat, they have some players that they're going to need to sign. Backlund comes to mind as well. I think there's 1 year left of control on his deal. Toffoli's deal now, he's been with the Flames for a couple of seasons. I think he's getting close to the end of his contract. Obviously Darryl Sutter wants his guys. Toffoli's his guy. You bring in a Timo Meier, maybe you're able to make it fit for a playoff run this year, but then the rubber meets the road eventually, financially speaking, and you have to make some hard decisions.
So we're underway right now in this third period. How do you want to do this, my friend? Do you want to take it, or do you want me to finish it?
We are. Boy, I got so into the the hypotheticals. We got to talk about the real hockey game here. You know what? Why don't you take the first half of this thing? We'll see how the Knights do here against the Flames, who are leading 3-1 as we're 30 seconds into this third period. Also, I will note this before I hand it off to you, thanks to the ESPN side. The Flames are 23-1-4 when leading after the second period this year. So the numbers bear it out. The Flames can keep this lead. They look good to get the W and the 2 points. But John, jump in there on the play-by-play, and I'll back you up.
All right, sounds good. So 18:35, we'll have to go in the third as some of the Vegas fans need to make their way into the seats as this is flipped all the way down to Brossois. And we'll see what happens here with the Golden Knights. They got 6 comebacks in the NHL when trailing after 2, which is the most, but the Flames have done very well with the lead, as Cooper said. So I'm going to take the play-by-play for this first half, and then we'll switch it back off to Cooper Hopkins as this goes all the way back down to Vegas with Nicholas Hague at possession. Hague will get this across the defensive partner, try to gain the entry off of the Golden Knight logo, pick it up toward the right wing side of Zadorov with a big body contact. As this is an open pass, Noah Hanifin going to try to spin this all the way around. And now Trevor Lewis will try to pick it up near the right side of the boards. Lewis being held as this will go to the Golden Knights, as this will bounce off a couple of skate blades. It's 10 minutes of offensive zone ice time to about 8.9 for Vegas, and I wonder how much of that changed in the second period, as they had a good push, but it was Backlund's goal that put it back to a 2-goal margin as this is flipped back down. Brossois will take a look at it. He'll play a back pass with the giant goal stick. And now the Golden Knights will try to go right to left. Again, they are in their mustard gold colors with the black pants. Again, that is a little bit of a reverse what it was over the last couple of years as Reilly Smith will watch this go around the inboards. And now the Flames will gain the entry. It is Backlund with a shot opportunity that gets blocked as he tries to race back and pick this up near the right side wall. But this will be chipped in. And now a chance as Hanifin will get this toward the wrist, put this up to the forwards now, and then flipped. So the Flames, Tyler Toffoli, try to get a piece of it now, Backlund. And with Karlsson, as this will go back toward Brossois. And now Alec Martinez will take his time in behind the net. So 26 shots to 19 with 16:40 left to go in this third. It's a 3-1 lead for the Flames. As the Golden Knights will try to put this down, and this will be iced. So we'll see which way this goes right now. This is kind of dipping your toes in the water in the third period and seeing if everybody's going to get their feet wet. It was a big push in the second for the Golden Knights. It was pretty much all the first here for Calgary, but this is a big 16:37 left, Cooper.
Yeah, a lot of time, but you know what? If you're looking at the other side of the coin, this is now almost 4 minutes gone here in the third period. That's got to make you smile if you're a fan of the Calgary Flames.
Yep, continue to bleed the time away when you can and take your opportunities when you can. That's kind of a moniker of the Calgary Flames. Jack Eichel is going to get set to take the draw here on the defensive side, but it's lost in between his legs as this will go to the Flames near the left side dot, trying to keep this up before and out the outside of the cage as it's Chris Tanev. Tanev still with it as they're patient. We'll go to D side with a slap shot that just goes above the pane of glass, and now Alec Martinez will try to get this out of his zone in his Vegas. Look to matriculate this down the ice, but it's picked off again as Trevor Lewis can settle this back down to the D side. Now the Flames will look to gain entry here with Dillon Dube as the shot will go just wide off the right side of the red line. And Calgary can go ahead and just get back, get settled up here to do a little bit of that trap as this goes out of play at 16:02.
Yeah, John, nothing telling so far in what has elapsed here in this third period as we get a studio update on the Kraken and Bruin contest. It is 2-1 Seattle until, just seconds ago, another tying goal right there. I think that was Pasta. So it's 2-2, a really tight contest between two good teams.
That was a ridiculous move by David Pastrnak to tie it at 2. So it's 3-1. Vegas will gain the entry as this will go back to Dennis Gilbert to play this across, and Peltier trying to help out near the right side dot with Nazem Kadri. He's just going to wait in toward the left side of the face-off dot as this is spilled back in deep. And Calgary keeps this off the forehand as Peltier will lose this one momentarily between his legs, but good back check there by the Flames to settle it back up, looking for a stretch pass as it was a little too far. And now the Golden Knights get this toward the left side of the wall. Dennis Gilbert. As Dan Vladar was looking on toward the right side post, this will get cleared all the way down. This will go to Zach Whitecloud. Zach Whitecloud now near the right side of the red line. Now trying to gain the entry again. Both teams just playing a little bit of a defensive contest, but this is really good for Calgary. I think Vegas is going to need to put their foot on the gas as we don't have a shot yet, and we're 5 minutes through the third period. It was 18 shots to 8 for Calgary. 11 to 8. For the right side, and I think this is going to be William Karlsson and Zach Whitecloud teaming it up. Whitecloud's going to get the goal that puts Vegas within 1.
Wow, that's the last thing you want to see if you are Calgary and a Calgary Flames fan. Boy, I'm not sure what happened right there. Dan Vladar seemed to have correct positioning there on his left side post, but from a really sharp angle, that was Whitecloud. Boy, he looks like we've been talking about Patty Kane tonight. He did a Patty Kane right there. He goes far post. That just nicks off of the blocker, and he finds that open sliver of net. It's only his second goal of the season. So the Flames have work to do now. They still have the lead at 3-2, John, but tons of time left, 14:52 to go.
Yeah, my apologies. I didn't have anything crazy on the goal call side of it because it just really caught me by surprise. But that was a good lift by Zach Whitecloud, but maybe one that Dan Vladar would like to have back. So we'll see if this injects some effort here for the Vegas Golden Knights as this one's touched up with the hybrid icing, so Calgary can't change.
Yeah, so the last 45 seconds or so have not gone swimmingly for the visitors. The Flames are going to have to keep their current 5 on the ice to take this faceoff to the left of Dan Vladar. Again, it's a 3-2 game here, and Zach Whitecloud, only his second goal of the year. But boy, that was a well-placed, quick wrister. And no, I don't blame you at all on your goal call. I was surprised to see that develop that way as well.
So a defensive zone draw upcoming. This is Mikael Backlund, as Eichel is going to be set to take this draw now as the first one got kicked out. So Eichel's probably the better face-off man to take it. So it was a benefit there for the Golden Knights as this will go back around the inboards now. Chris Tanev will watch it as once again they get that overhead cam. And this gets picked up here by the Flames as they'll gain the entry up the backhand across the red line, see if they can do anything with it. Brossoit will just brush this with the goal stick. Backlund doing a great job just holding the right side of the boards as he tries to keep this, but he's pinned. As Howden, Eichel, everyone else is out in front, but the Flames, they could not hold the high slot. And this will go back to Vladar. Will play this one near the right side dot, but you got to be careful as one of the Golden Knights was absolutely zooming down the ice to get a piece of it. And McNabb can't hold the blue line. There is just a body contact all over the place as William Karlsson will look on. And now one of the Flames able to stay on side. They'll just play this toward an open right wing. And Elias Lindholm will send this lively around the inboards with Toffoli. He's going to go ahead and give chase. Rasmus Andersson try to get in there as well as this does stay with the Flames now near the left faceoff dot, trying to work forehand. Try to center out there the blue paint as this gets picked up by Noah Hanifin, but his deflection opportunity goes right to the Golden Knights stick as it's 13-20 left to go in the third. It's 26 shots to 20, and Vegas continues to add to that shot board as this is a great interception. This could be a 3-on-2 here for Calgary, but a good back defense there as Howden's able to brush it away. And here come the Golden Knights off of a 2-on-2, but Calgary able to get a piece of it as it gets poked ahead. Huberdeau gets this alive off the backhand, dropping it for Kadri. Calgary needs to let this go, but they miss it wide toward the right side of the inboards. And now Tanev will settle it back down as they look for another deflection. It goes over in the same spot as this will get picked up again. Tanev gets it in the high slot, trying to leave it here for Nazem Kadri. Kadri with a stutter step. Now he's near the left circle as this will go back D to D. And now Calgary finally getting some sustained zone possession, but they promptly turn it right over. And now the Golden Knights will chip it down. They gain the red line, and they're going to go ahead and take their change for Bruce Cassidy's squad. And that's going to allow Calgary to get set up with the breakout left to right. They are in the road whites with the red pants as they gain the entry now to the left side of the end wall. Going to try to spin this all the way around the end boards as they'll go D to D one more time. Take a slap shot right on. It gets blocked by a host of Golden Knights in the middle of the slot, and Howden lost the puck. This will go to the Flames now as body contact was eluded there as Alec Martinez tried to throw one. And Connor Dewar was doing a little bit of work as there's some more contact on the other end by Dennis Gilbert. He's had a pretty decent game when he's needed to. He's able to fight off some of the Golden Knights with the puck as this is spun back around. And they'll have to be quick about it, are the Flames, as they'll try to make a transition. They've just conceded one goal, as it was a chance for Whiteclaw to get his second of the season. And now Coleman, he got worked off the puck, and he got dropped hard, and there was no call on that as the third line's out for Darryl Sutter's squad. His Backlund will watch this go by. This gets flipped across the neutral zone right now. This will allow the Golden Knights to gain the entry. It was 1-on-3, but Jonathan Marchessault able to buy some time, but he got expertly pushed out of the zone there by Calgary, as they did not leave him alone. Now near the left side of the dot. This will be recollected by Vegas. This will be flipped as McNabb will try to fire it right on, but it touches the stick of Nikita Zadorov. About 6'5" of him, as this takes a lofty pass. This could be an opportunity for Mangiapane, but he got stick-lifted at the last second. It was a fortunate bounce that gave him an opportunity anyway. As Paul Cotter, he will send this around the end boards as Calgary will get a piece of it now. And when we get to the next commercial break, we'll flip back over between Cooper and myself as we get set to close this out if we don't have anything else on the scoreline side as this touches the stick of Brossoit. Now Vegas will try to go right to left as they gain the red line. This is a chance to be dumped in by Kessel. And now this will be spun all the way around, and it goes dangerously through the middle of the high slot and sent all the way back down the ice, where this will be recollected by Chandler Stephenson. He leads the Golden Knights in points, but very, very quiet and very curious as he sits on the third line here tonight. This collected. Huberdeau, his pass, tried to get played out of the air by Kadri and somehow found Brossoit, but I'm not sure how.
And John, I think that will go down as Nazem Kadri makes a funny face right there and looks over at Jonathan Huberdeau as if to say, ooh, that was pretty close, my friend. And it was. And my point was, though, that was the first shot of the third period for Calgary, and that was a wacky one at that. And only 2 shots total in this period. And, of course, the only one for the Golden Knights by Zach Whitecloud went into the back of the net. So it's been a tale of 3 periods for sure. It was kind of all Flames in the first, then a little bit more balanced in the second, with both teams getting a goal. And then here in this third, it's been more a strong period for Vegas, but just a strange one overall, would you say?
I do, because I think 1-1 in shots, and we're halfway through the third period in a 1-goal game, and the one shot was from Zach Whitecloud. I think if any of us were betting then Cooper Hopkins, we would have got that one wrong.
Yeah, I would not have picked Zach Whitecloud to tally tonight. You know, we got Eichel on the score sheet, we got Huberdeau on the score sheet. Mikael Backlund, who's looked really good for Calgary over the past, really all season. But Zach Whitecloud, welcome to the party.
So we'll have to just say this is going to be anyone's contest, and maybe over/under on shots. And this is me probably being facetious a little bit. 5 for both teams right now, because that certainly seems to be the type of pace as we're almost halfway done for this 1-goal game in the third.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder. I know you're saying that tongue in cheek, and I wonder what we'll see from Vegas, because they are still down and they're going to have to make a push. Now it's going to require shots on net. So, realistically, we'll probably see some things change on the shot board. But this has been a curious third period, and I stand by what I said before. I mean, it seems simple to say, but it hasn't always been simple for this team. So I want to say it out loud. 1 more goal for the Calgary Flames would be very important and very welcome.
Go ahead and take this back half of the game if you want to here, Cooper, and close it out.
Okay, well, thank you for your generosity, my friend, as we're getting some of the highlights here. We're back at T-Mobile Arena. We're going to have a face-off in the Flames' offensive zone to the right of Brossoit. We'll see if the Flames, who are holding on to this 1-goal lead, can win the clean draw. They do, and there's a deflected shot from out by the blue line. That goes to the left of the cage. And now the Golden Knights will come out the other way. Nice chipped pass forward right there is going to be picked up by Vladar, actually, who stepped out of the blue paint. But Vegas Golden Knights hold on to possession right here. Good job at the far boards, where they do hold it until they turn it over. And now the Flames will chip in from the center ice logo. Nice hit right there. The Flames are leading on the hit counter. They are over the 40 mark, and the Golden Knights, by comparison, are over the 30 mark. So Flames playing a physical game as well as a skilled one here, as we are about 9:35 away from ending regulation. And if it ends this way, the Flames will have a big 2 points in what is this proverbial 4-point swing game right here. So the puck bouncing around, going to be picked up by Andersson. And then Noah Hanifin, who I talked a lot about in the second period, sends this one out of his own end back to the center red line. Flames having trouble corralling the puck right here. It's actually held beautifully by the Golden Knights. I think that's Paul Cotter. And there is a loose puck right there that's going to be held in at the blue line. Now stepping in from his defensive position is Theodore. The puck bounces around past Cotter, who's rubbed off the puck by Chris Tanev right there. Make that Rasmus Andersson correction. Now the puck's bouncing around near the low slots, and it goes wide of the net. So extended ozone time right here for the home team. Held in by Marchessault. He scoots around to the forehand and fires a wrister right into the breadbasket. He looks a little disappointed not to have placed that one better, John. Vladar makes another big save.
Yeah, and it was Paul Cotter. And again, you mentioned this. It felt like he was just holding up, protect the puck button, keeping it acquiescing toward the left boards. And when you draw the play long enough, that's going to allow opportunities like the one we just saw as we head to a commercial break.
Yeah, that effort from Cotter reminds me a little bit of what we've seen from Dillon Dube in this game for the Flames. He's looked really good throughout, has moved his skates very well. He's been speedy. He's been in the right spot at the right time for Calgary. Has shown some excellent work on the forecheck. And even though he's not on the score sheet, I really liked what he has added to this game. You got to say that's the case for Cotter as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think both of these teams right now, we're going to see who's going to want it more, because that's the type of game that we have. Now it's just a goal-scoring fest on the other end. It's a 3-3 game on a live look in between Boston and Seattle. Jamie Oleksiak with the latest one at 9:46. In the second period alone, it was Vince Dunn and Oleksiak and David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand, as it's 10:13 left to go in the second.
Boy, a wild thought just came into my mind, John, and perhaps it's because I literally have a Seattle Kraken hat that is covering my brain right now. But it's not completely outside of the realm of possibility to think that if Seattle were to stick in a playoff spot and make really an incredible run in just their second season, and if the Boston Bruins just keep doing what they've been doing all year, we may be looking at a potential Stanley Cup final matchup. Isn't that wild?
You're going way ahead of me on that one, but I like the confidence. I do think between both of these teams, they can absolutely do it. I just keep going back to punching the button of goaltending for the Seattle Kraken, but the way that both those teams roll out all four lines, I could not argue one way or the other.
Yeah, no, admittedly, listen, Seattle kid, I'm going to lean that way, but I'm also realistic. I don't think that's what we're going to see. I think the Kraken, if they get into the dance, I think they could win a round, depending on their matchup. But, this Golden Knights team that we are watching, they're going to make some noise. I would expect them to win at least one round. And the Flames, if they can get in, I'm curious to see what they can do. But, hey, we're all really looking at the Red Wings. I'm waiting for the Red Wings to make some noise as well. So lots going on in the Stanley Cup playoff race for the playoffs. And there was a shot right on by the Vegas Golden Knights that was turned aside very casually by the left pad of Dan Vladar. But that one would have gone in had he not flicked that leg out. So another good stop by number 80. And there's a quick snapshot right there that hits the body in front. I think that may have contacted Toffoli's hip or calf. He looks to be slowed a little bit, but no worse for wear, still on the ice. So he tries to clear the zone right there, and the Flames get a little help from a bit of puck luck, just kind of bounces off a body and a skate back to the Golden Knights end of the ice. But here comes Cotter. We mentioned him. He's holding the puck yet again. Dennis Gilbert tries to check him. Gilbert ends up being the one on the ice. Now the puck floats in front. There's a backhand attempt. I think that may have hit the bar, or it could have hit the glove. Either way, Dan Vladar, he is in action right now, and a shot comes from the blue line at 80-plus miles per hour that deflects up and out of play. But my goodness, John, Vegas is making a bit of a push right now. Dan Vladar keeping the Flames at this 1-goal lead.
Yeah, Connor with an excellent job to protect the puck, and it was the NHL Iron Man, Phil Kessel, that got a backhand run and then went off the blocker of Dan Vladar.
Boy, it's really interesting to see this shot board close down. Now just 4 shots ahead of the Calgary Flames, 27-23. Another stick on the ice, that's Noah Hanifin's. He's got to keep that because his stick has been excellent tonight. 7 minutes, 40 seconds to go here in the third. Cooper Hopkins on the play-by-play with John Ott. We've been trading off between color commentary and play-by-play. I'm happy to be back on it right now because the team that I root for still has a lead, but it was almost taken away right there. Another bad save by Dan Vladar. Now the puck's loose in front, and it is in. The hand points at the cage by the referee, and John, we have a tied game. Opportunistic are the Golden Knights. They were all around it, and it felt like it was going to happen. It just did. 3-3.
Unfortunately for the Flames, it all started when Noah Hanifin got his lunch money stolen, and William Carrier, he's going to be the one, as there is just a battle all over the place. Vladar's already made a couple of saves, but nobody's able to pick up Carrier as he puts it into essentially an empty net for his 16th of the season. This game's tied at 7:25.
Yep, so it's 2 goals in this third period, one by White Cloud of all people, and now Carrier is 16th. Yep, you just mentioned that, and it is 3-3. Boy, John, this is a big moment not only in this game, but in the Calgary Flames season. Do you agree?
I do, and I was also wondering if Darryl Sutter was going to elect to take a timeout, but we're still underway.
Yes, we are. 7:25 to go. The lights flashing here at T-Mobile Arena, and the fans are celebrating. The Golden Knights look reinvigorated. It is a new hockey game with just 7 minutes to go. Nice job right there to step around and check by Mackenzie Weegar. Couldn't connect the pass to Blake Coleman and bounces off his skate. And now here comes Vegas the other way. They will chip in. Vladar can't control, so it's picked up at the far half boards by Vegas. But nice job by, guess who? Mikael Backlund. Good stick right there with the takeaway. And the camera doesn't follow the puck, but I fortunately did. And now it's a turnover by Chris Tanev. Here come the Knights, and whipping on the shot is, John, I'm trying to get a number on
Brett
that
Howden.
one. That is Brett Howden. Thank you. Boy, oh boy, Chris Tanev with a very uncharacteristic turnover, normally so defensively responsible, and Howden can't get a clean shot away, and Vladar covers. Wow, what a moment.
I think the tectonic plates that are shifting feel a little seismic right now. The Calgary Flames need to get this out of the zone quickly and win this defensive zone draw.
Yes, they certainly do. The Flames seem to be tightening up at the wrong time. There's less than 7 to go here. Vegas seems to be loosening up and having the run of play right now. So Lindholm for the Flames will take on William Karlsson in the face-off dot to Vladar's right. And nice job right there by 28 in white to win it for the Flames. Now Toffoli's going to tip this one along. That one is carried in. Now it's over to Lindholm, who skated all the way from his own end to the right wing near corner. He almost had a great scoring opportunity right there. Good check near the Flames players bench. Puck's going to be picked up by Peltier, but there's a battle for it. Vladar watching intently. Now the puck bounces to the near corner. It's back out to the blue line. Petrangelo tries to fire. This one goes off a skate and I believe up into the netting. So play is whistled down with 6:21 to go.
I know we talked about it, and ESPN's made their point about the Vegas Golden Knights and their comebacks. This was a 3-1 lead for the Flames heading into this third, and this is a monumental 4-point swing right now. I don't even think it's enough, Cooper, to just get 1. You want to get 2 from the way that the Flames have started this game and see if they can hold Vegas out of the standings part of the board.
Yeah, I agree with you yet again. We often do, and it's trailing 3-1 to start this period, then a kind of a fluke goal by White Cloud that he went far post with a quick wrister, 3-2, and then Carrier, just opportunistic, and that's what you have to be sometimes. That's what the Knights have been. Now a bouncing puck that will be stretched out too far for the Flames, but boy, Jacob Peltier was on his horse. He's one of the faster skaters on the team now, and Brossoit, for a second time tonight, has to come well out of his crease and take care of the puck in his own end. Now, Chris Tanev will have it in his own end. Inside 6 minutes to go here. This game is tied. We can't say it enough. Just a massive contest, really, for both of these teams. Vegas with a win, I think, cements their position at the top of the West. And the Flames with a win keep themselves in the conversation. Minnesota, who's ahead of them in wild card 2, did get the win tonight, 2-0 over Columbus. So 7 shots now in the period for Vegas, just the one for Calgary, and it wasn't even really a traditional shot. It was kind of a fluky bounce. And speaking of bounce, the stick of Rasmus Andersson is bounced out of his hands. He now picks it up on the skate blade side, flips it right side up now. He'll skate back defensively, but the Vegas Golden Knights have possession, and there's a puck shot right on that's turned away. Daryl pads have looked great tonight. He kicked that one away with the right toe, and the puck bounces out from the corner. How did it not go in, John? It almost bounced in, ricocheted like a pool ball, but it stays out, and now the shot board is even, my friend. Boy, the Vegas Knights have turned this game around as we have 4:55 to go in the third. So the Knights now in their own end will send this one out. The puck bounces to center ice. A stick gets up on Zadorov, and I think we are going to get a high sticking call. Is there blood? Is the only question. At least 2 minutes coming up for a Flames power play, my friend.
Yes, we are, and that's exactly what Calgary is going to need right now. As the high stick is just signaled. I want to see if a chance if there is blood on the other end, but it's very clear as it was toward the right side of the cheek, and we'll see if the Flames can desperately take advantage of this because the shots really one way are 19-8 over this stretch from the second and the third. So I would say the back half of the last 10 minutes of the second period and pretty much all of this third, this has been Vegas' spot, and this is an opportunity for Calgary to turn it right around on the power play.
Yeah, John, no uncertain terms here. This is a turning point in the game, turning point in the season. I'm waiting for any one of these Flames. I don't know if it's Backlund on second unit. I'm not sure if it's going to be Pelche, who's been getting power play time with Jonathan Huberdeau on the first unit. One of these players has to step up. This is the time. This could be a sequence and a 2-minute period that makes or breaks the season. I know that sounds really over the top, but there's some truth to that.
No, there is some truth to that. The one thing I want to mention from Calgary's power play and Vegas's defense, watch again for a lot of puck possession for Calgary because Vegas does not seem to like the press up against the point, against the forwards. They're going to allow Calgary to cycle this thing. So it's going to be up for them to stay patient, maybe get a deflection from Kadri off of a play from Huberdeau. That's maybe what I'm thinking is going to happen, but I think Calgary could get 3 or 4 shots on this if they can continue to move the puck around the horn as they've done, because I don't think Vegas presses all that much on their penalty kill, at least from this game, from what we've seen.
Yeah, John, so again, we're going to take a quick look because I'm thinking about it. We're going to take a quick look at our other active game in the NHL. Excuse me, 2 other active games in the NHL right now. We still have a tie game. It's 3-3 between the Bruins and the Kraken in Seattle with about 3 minutes to go in the second. And a little less interesting, but, the Predators, they still might they have to make quite a push, but they could still make some noise. They're up 1-0 against the Sharks at the start of the second period in San Jose. So we are back here at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. In the box for Vegas is Brett Howden. You got to stick up on Nikita Zadorov. No blood, though, so it's a 2-minute minor for high sticking and a nice clean face-off win in the O-zone. Rasmus Andersson has the puck. Tyler Toffoli tries to fire from the right circle. Now, the far circle, I should say. Now Lindholm has it, but the puck bounces off of his skate right to one of the Golden Knights, and they're able to clear. So again, even on the shot board at 27, even on the scoreboard at 3, 4.5 to go, 1:40 to go in Calgary's power play. There's 4th of the 9. They've yet to score with a man advantage. Kadri drops off to Toffoli at the near boards. Now Kadri looks for Andersson, finds him at the right point. Andersson back to Kadri. Kadri cross ice. Huberdeau to Andersson. Andersson to Kadri. Kadri in the near circle. Kadri back to Andersson. He's alone up top, that umbrella formation for Calgary. Kadri to Andersson. Andersson gets pressure. He's going to fire from distance. It's off the crossbar. Unbelievable, John. That has been the story of the year for the Flames. They have hit so many posts and crossbars. Could have been 4-3 if that puck were 2 inches lower. So 1 minute, 5 seconds to go here in Calgary's power play. Inside 4 minutes to play. I'm trying to keep my breathing steady, and the Flames are trying to keep this breakout steady as Mangiapane looks to pick up the puck, but it's taken away now. A one-on-one the other way for the Vegas Golden Knights. A shot from about 60 feet out, and that one is turned aside by Dillon Dube. But do we have a penalty, John, or did the puck get up into the netting? Play is stopped.
Puck got up into the netting. I'm getting the replay right now. Rasmus Andersson with an absolute missile that just pinged the top of the crossbar with traffic in front of the net for Tyler Toffoli. That's just what I was alluding to in Calgary's power play. Now they got to make it happen on the defensive end.
Boy, and I'm not kidding when I say this. If even the angle of the puck as it would shot were a little flatter, that one goes bar down, John. That was a perfect shot. It was just about an inch and a half too high. So the Flames, after the puck went up into the netting, they win their defensive zone draw. Now Pelche has it. He's going to send in from well outside in the neutral zone. It's picked up here by the Knights. They will choose to clear as opposed to try to start a rush on the penalty kill. So Flames with no shots since the 10-16 marker right here. And that last shot by Rasmus Andersson technically doesn't even count. The Flames come in onside. Pelche was a nice stick handling right there. The puck goes over to Dube. We've watched him with a great game, although he's pushed off the puck right there. Noah Hanifin somehow keeps the puck in, goes back to Dube. Dube now holds at the near board, spins, goes back to Hanifin. Hanifin back to Dube. Dube holds. He's in the near circle. Dube down low to Pelche. He was looking for Mangiapane, but the puck bounces off the stick, and the penalty has expired, John. We're back to full strength. 3-3, less than 3 minutes to go here in period number 3. Who will be the hero? Will it come in regulation? Are we going for some extra hockey? Or will it be a shootout, John? Someone's got to take this thing, and right now it's anyone's hockey game. Trevor Lewis looks for the puck down low in the near corner. That one is chipped back away, though, and the Vegas Golden Knights will break out from their own end. Chris Tanev on the ice, one half of a defensive pairing. Jack Eichel, who scored tonight, he gets the puck down low. The puck is bouncing. Chris Tanev fights for it right there, comes away with it. Good job right there by big number 8. He's got that lettuce flowing, and he looks to be locked in at the moment for Calgary. So the puck goes all the way back down, though. Brossoit's big gloved hand is up in the air, and it will be an icing against the Flames. So the penalty, no penalty, but the face-off will come near Dan Vladar.
And now the shot board says 28-27 in favor of Vegas. They've struck all the way back on that side as it's a 3-3 tie with 2:05 left.
Yep, indeed, my friend. And this really has been an interesting progression for the Flames. They looked so strong in the first, very balanced in the second, and it's been mostly Golden Knights here in the third. Almost all Golden Knights, if you look just at the scoreboard, because it's been 2 goals for them, none for their opponents who are visiting from Wild Rose Country in Alberta, Canada. Nice job right there. Excuse me, clearing my throat, by Elias Lindholm. He gets the puck right near the players' benches, and he'll go off for a change as Rasmus Andersson holds in his own end. Looks for the stretch pass to Coleman right there. But a good job by the Knights near the penalty boxes to knock this one back down to the trapezoid on Dan Vladar's side of the ice. John, we are 90 seconds away from extra hockey here. That one's going to be dumped in by Rasmus Andersson. It bounces all the way to the far corner to Brossoit's right. And here come the Golden Knights. Tyler Toffoli on his horse to prevent an odd man rush right there. Rasmus Andersson has the puck on his stick again. He's going to leave this one for Nikita Zadorov. Good stretch pass out of his own zone. Puck goes back to Andersson. He's bounced off the puck right there. Great check by Braden McNabb. Boy, he threw a hip check right there. That was a classic move. Great defense by the Knights. Now the puck scurries all the way down. Meager picks it up, and he will find Tanev. Tanev will find Jonathan Huberdeau. Haven't really said Huberdeau's name too much here in the second and third periods. That one was gloved down by Brossoit. He found a teammate, and it was floated up near the rafters and then fell back down, and now it's in the Flames' end. We're inside a minute to play with, in fact, just 40 seconds to go here in the third. Vegas possesses. They have it at the left point. A slapper from way out, and it's behind Vladar. The fans thought that they scored, but it went behind the net and bounced back in front, John. 30 seconds to play now. Here come the Flames. They're looking for a change. They will chip this one in, and a big body check thrown by one of the Knights near their own bench. Boy, some of the fans banging on the glass right there. The energy is all golden at the moment, but we have an icing. So an interesting development. The Calgary Flames will have an ozone draw coming up with 16.3 to go. And wait a second, John. Do we have a penalty being called now? I incorrectly called one earlier in the night, but is one of the referees indicating to the penalty box?
I don't see anything yet as I'm getting a replay of the hit. I don't see anything at all. I think we're just going to get an offensive zone draw here for the Flames.
Okay, thank you for correcting me yet again. Just like the Flames on the power play, I am over when it comes to looking for penalties. Maybe I'm just hoping for one for Calgary. And boy, that was quite a replay that I just saw. One of the linesmen, the referee gets dumped, absolutely disappears behind the bench right there. That's going to be what reminds me of one of those intro videos for like NHL 2003. Anyway, I'm revealing my age at the moment as The Flames are looking for one last shot attempt here with 3 seconds on the clock. There's one from way out that hits a body, and John, we are going to overtime, 3-3 as we reach the end of regulation.
I know this isn't what Calgary wanted as far as going to OT, but I'm glad you mentioned something about that crowd, because that double hit, that was 2 Golden Knights to 1 Flame into the players' bench, and you seen the crowd just slamming on the glass, and all of a sudden it was just getting really loud at T-Mobile. I think this will be a perfect time for a commercial timeout, and per usual here, Cooper Hopkins, I'm going to take my winner on both sides as we normally do in this OT. I'm going to go with someone that I think has been all around it here for the Golden Knights. I know it's an easy one, but I'm going to say Reilly Smith for the Golden Knights. And on the other side for the Calgary Flames, I'm going to go ahead and take Mackenzie Weegar.
Wow, John, I like it. You've made bold calls tonight. We talked about the Colorado Avalanche. You made a bold prediction there. I like the Mackenzie Weegar bold prediction as a potential game-winning goal scorer right there. I'm actually going to go one that's fairly obvious, but he's just been too good to ignore tonight. I'm going to say if it's going to be Vegas, we're talking about Jack Eichel getting his second of the night. And if it's going to be the Calgary Flames, I'm going with someone who we haven't said this guy's name all that much, but he has been a difference maker at some pretty important times for the Flames before. So I'm going to say he can do it again, and that is Andrew Mangiapane. I think that the Flames bread man might be the difference maker tonight for the visitors.
I like it, and I wasn't going to steal Jack Eichel for my play-by-play man here tonight. You got to support everybody, so I'm taking Reilly Smith on that end.
Oh, look and see, you're too kind. I don't even look. I'm not smart enough to realize that you were setting me up, and hey, at least I hit it off the tee. You put it on the tee for me, and at least I sent it out to the fairway. So I didn't whiff on the number 9. You know that you have to watch out for him anytime he is on the ice here, especially in a 3-on-3 situation. This is the first overtime game between the Flames and the Golden Knights, their 16th meeting in their histories. This outcome will be massive, really, in particular for Calgary, but it's also a huge game for the Golden Knights as well. Almost, you would say, a must-win for Calgary. So, OT, 5 minutes on the clock. The face-off is won. It was a bit of a mess there at center ice, but it's ultimately taken by the Golden Knights. Nice forecheck right there. Backlund on the ice, along with Dube, who's had a good game for the Flames. I know we've said that before, but he has earned that. And now with turnovers going to be taken by Backlund, he's streaking up the far wing. He's going to try to take it himself, and he gets the puck bounced off of the left pad of Rasmus. Boy, he put himself in a dangerous position right there. Could have been called for goaltender interference. No penalty called now. The puck's going to be held by Jack Eichel. He will cycle all the way back to his own blue line. 40 seconds have gone here in OT. 3-on-2 the other way. There's Marchessault, who wins the game for Vegas. 1 shot, 1 goal, 4-3. Vegas wins. Marchessault with an absolute beam into the top corner, and it is over, John. Not even a minute into overtime.
Oh, man.
Ball game, see you later, curtain down, and the Flames have a lot of looking in the mirror to do, my friend.
Oh, I want to be professional here, but I do feel a little bit sick to my stomach. But I say this a lot for the Flames because we've done this a lot. This was, I'm not going to say a self-inflicted game, but you just let Vegas run all over you from the back half of that second and all of the third. I mean, that's an impossible shot to stop there for Dan Vladar as that went barred down. I'm not sure if that was going to be credit for Alex Pietrangelo. Maybe that didn't go across the red line, but again, this is something that the Flames have got to have. And look, we've talked about it, and Cooper and I talked about it last week as far as, a 3-game stretch of the points that Calgary's got to have. Well, they got a point tonight, but how many times are you going to be satisfied with getting the OT loss point, not the extra 2? Because this is a big game that you had in front. You were controlling Vegas, and they just turned it right around. It made it look a little too easy, I think.
Yeah, John, I appreciate your words, and that was tough for me too. I sort of stumbled through that final goal call there because, frankly, I sort of couldn't believe what I had just seen. And unfortunately, part of what led to that goal was it looked like either a slow change or miscommunication on a change. The Flames weren't able to get a second forward on the ice. And that resulted in extra time. Guess what? For a trailing forward on the Vegas Golden Knights side to have an open shot lane. And the Flames, they could have been bitten earlier in the game by that. They weren't. That's not how the goals were scored by Vegas until the one that mattered most, and that was the game-winning goal by Marchessault. And you know what? Credit to him. That was an absolutely beautiful shot. It was impressive to watch, but boy, did it break my heart. And it's also a microcosm of the Flames season, right? I think if they lose this in regulation, we're having a different conversation. But the Flames do what they have done really all year, which is they get 1 point and do just enough and not looking great for most of the game. They start out looking great, but somehow just cannot keep the chemistry. They cannot keep the momentum alive. And sometimes it happens in the first period. This time it happened over the course of 60 minutes, right, John? And they allowed themselves to let their opponent not only back into the game, but so far back in that they gave up their W. They had it at 3-1 to start the third period. And they were not able to do what they needed to do. But they're still in the conversation. A point keeps them in the conversation. And I'm not sure what to think other than there are some positives to take away here. And I am at a loss for words beyond that, John. So if you have any parting wisdom for me, I will certainly take it, because that was a bit of a heartbreaker right there.
Yeah, that was a big game. I can't really impart words of wisdom. I don't think the 1 point is what Calgary would be happy with, considering the way that the game started. Because again, when I looked at the game just a few days ago against the Philadelphia Flyers, and I was kind of disgusted, and then I see this start against the Golden Knights, like, all right, Flames got this. Not at least got this in the sense of going to win the game, but they're having the pace, they're controlling the pressure, they're dictating the game. We're seeing the things that we want to see if they want to make the postseason, and then you kind of you don't even take your foot off the gas. You just let them control you on the other end of it, and that's not what you want. And as we talk about the points with Boston, Toronto, Dallas, a couple against Minnesota, well, this puts us in the situation going forward. We talk about it next week. You're going to turn those Minnesota games now into must wins, not overtime wins, not where Minnesota can get an extra point. You got to win both of those ones in regulation, because this is 2 points you should have had tonight. It didn't materialize. But if you don't take a quick look in that mirror and correct those things and make sure that you play a full 60 minutes for as hard as that is to do, this is the Vegas Golden Knights. They've won 5 of the last 6. Did you not know that they were going to make a press?
Yeah. You knew it was going to happen. You didn't know that it was going to be as devastating as that just was. And I know that word, like a lot of times, I try to be aware, right? I try not to be too hyperbolic, but that is a tough pill to swallow right there. A game that you had, you don't want to say that you had it in the bag. A team like Vegas of that quality, with 20 minutes to play, they're going to make moves, and you're going to have to answer. The Flames were not able to answer, and they got caught on a weird one. But you know what? They also had a third goal on a weird one of their own, that Mikael Backlund goal. So credit to Vegas. They did what they had to do at home. They strengthened their position at the top of the division and the conference. And the Flames are left, I think, right where they were when they started the night, which is on the outside looking in. And with more questions than answers, my friend, we're going to have to continue doing our coverage and just bite our lips and steel ourselves for the possibility that the Flames might fall out of this thing. But by contrast, they might find a way. I still believe, and maybe I'm foolish in this, but I still believe they may find a way at the most important time of the season to find a way to lock in that chemistry that they show, particularly in first periods, and sustain it over the course of a full game. But we'll see, my friend. We will see.
Well, they have the correct teams in front of them to do so. I guess it's just when you look at that back end of it, and we can say this realistically, how many shots did the Flames have in the last 30 minutes of this contest? 6, 7, maybe 8 at most. I mean, they didn't have anything going.
Yeah, and that says it. The numbers always bear it out. It was Vegas that took over. They took possession. They took chances. They were opportunistic. They created scenarios where there were rebounds to be had. They found them and put them in the back of the net. The Flames did essentially none of that. They didn't look. This is the thing. It's this middle ground, kind of the average play. They're neither hot nor cold. They're just kind of there. They didn't look terrible. Chris Tanev has a bad turnover, but ultimately it doesn't result in a goal. So there's nothing that's disastrous that's bringing this team down. It's just they cannot sustain a high enough level of play to keep their opponents at arm's length and get the win.
So as we close out, I'll just make a mention of the next two teams and what they play. So the upcoming game on Saturday as well is going to be for Dallas for Vegas. And on the other end, why this has so much weight to it, who's the team that's in wildcard spot number 2 right now? It's Colorado Avalanche. Well, the Flames play them at 10 on Ball Arena on the eastern side for Saturday night. So I said that I'm going to go ahead and do the Red Wings and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I really want to do the Colorado game, but I just don't know if I can handle that same kind of thing that we just watched. So I think I'll have to watch that one in passing and take a live look in. But it's going to be another monumental game for the Flames on Saturday against the Avs.
Yes, it will be. Hopefully they'll have the kind of performance that they did at the beginning of the season. That was the first game of the year. John and I covered that one. And if I remember correctly, I think it was a 5-1 win for Calgary. Boy, did we think that they were high-flying it. We thought that was a sign of things to come. But unfortunately, now that I think about it, the Flames did start the year quite hot and have now just been kind of lukewarm throughout. And that seems to be the way they play their games. And will that be enough to get them into the playoffs? I think the answer is no. They're going to have to find a way to turn the heat up. No pun intended. But I'll say this to close out, John. I know there are lots of games that are on our radar that we could potentially cover. I do think I will be available this weekend, so I'm looking forward to whoever the teams are, whatever the matchup is, whether we're talking Flames, Avs, Wings, or one of the other marquee matchups. Let's do it, my friend. I'll be there.
All right, so if you're going to be there, then we'll pencil it in for Colorado and the Flames. But if not, I will reverse it because we got Colorado, Boston, Toronto, Minnesota, Dallas, and Minnesota. So I think we're going to go pretty heavy here on the Calgary Flames. So let's just hope after the next 6 games we get to keep our sanity.
Oh my goodness, I know. You know what? I normally don't say this, but I might need a cocktail. I need a drink. I think it's been one of those days. My heart is in it still with this team. I still have a lot of hope. But hey, they're also, regardless of the outcome, not only of these games for Calgary, but of their season, so much to be excited about. The Avalanche have their push that you've talked about. Of course, the Detroit Red Wings, who are getting hot at just the right time. So much to look forward to. So I'm looking ahead to more great games with you.
All right, we'll definitely be in touch about what we want to cover this weekend, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, everybody. All right, so we heard from Cooper here. So it's either going to be Colorado and the Flames on Saturday, or maybe we'll cover the Red Wings and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to keep in touch with him this weekend and see what he wants to cover. That was a absolutely great game. Again, I try to be as professional as possible because I know Cooper Hopkins is my resident expert for the Calgary Flames. He's one of my best friends on that side. So to watch what we just watched, I understand that can be tough, but Obi-Wan Kenobi is exactly right on that side because the Golden Knights absolutely took it to the Flames in that third period. But I would say even the back half, the last 30 minutes in that OT was all Golden Knights. And when you have games like that, like the Flames do, as we talked about, you have to make sure that you go ahead and you bank the points that you should bank. Because let's say it, they lost the game in OT today, but they didn't win the game against Philadelphia. They lost both games against the Red Wings. They went 0-1-1 against the Blackhawks. When you lose some of those other games, that puts you to the point right now, especially in the back half of the season, that you've got to continue to keep the pressure on and do the damage that you need to if you want to make the postseason. Fortunately for the Flames, they have their destiny in front of them, but their next couple games in between Colorado, Boston, Toronto, Dallas, couple games against Minnesota, it's not going to be easy, But the main thing is you have your destiny in front of you. If you win those games, you put yourself into a great spot to get in the postseason. But we'll figure it out. We'll be in communication, and we will definitely. I will be back on Saturday. We just have to figure out which game we want to cover. Talk to you soon, guys. We will see you then. Peace.